Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another FlyJSim live stream today, the 16th of January 2021. 4 minutes past 3 in the afternoon in the United Kingdom. Back in X-Plane 11, back in the excellent FlyJSim 737-200. We're going all old school and retro today. Currently in Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. You can see right now it's a lovely day. We'll be flying westbound, flying in an Oceanic Tango route sector, all the way to Ponta Delgada. Marianne has been telling me off for my pronunciation for this all the time because it's completely incorrect. Not very good with Portuguese pronunciations because that's where she's from. And today will be a fantastic demonstration of some raw data flying, INS navigation. We'll have a look at my rusty ATPL knowledge and try and calculate an equal time point en route.
20,
and we look forward then to some procedural approach in some, well, potentially quite inclement weather. We'll have a look at that. We're going to discuss all about planning and all that throughout the stages there. Thank you very much to Pandora Snatch, has just donated $2. That's very, very kind. Welcome aboard. Thanks for the cool pair emoji. Thank you very much as well to FPS City, who also donated with a pair #1 fan. Thank you very much to both of you. That's very, very kind. Who we got here in chat today? We got Plain Old Ben here. Love me some raw data flying. You were loving it last night, that's for sure. On Discord. Bruno, hello tout le monde. Great, Chris. Hi guys, 2 tons of love says morning, Captain. Hello everyone, morning to you, sir. Will Lizzie Windsor start from Lisbon, maybe? Pedro got your donation, thank you. Loads of members, moderators as well. Finley's here, and who else? Tim Waters, of course. I knew you'd be around. Afternoon, everybody. He says perfect. Right, so we are live on FlyJSim. One of the reasons I chose this sector was I did see that there was an event going on in this entire region. I think some oceanic sectors were coming online. Unfortunately, Shamwick Oceanic isn't online at the moment, but we'll discuss oceanic clearances anyway and how to get them. My operator, we don't fly transatlantic or any against. We don't go. Let me start again. Get my teeth back in. We don't fly any of the North Atlantic tracks, but we do fly something called the Tango Airways. Along some of the parts just to the west of Portugal. So looking forward to perhaps demonstrating some of that. I've never actually flown them in my entire career, but I do have some guidance on how to do that. Thanks a lot, Mariana. Yes, put my teeth back in. Massive thanks to Freckles Aviation, to one of my members who has made this absolutely gorgeous Alpaca Airways retro livery. Alpaca Airways, if you don't know, has actually been going for many, many years. We actually got this one out from the Mojave Desert for this sector today. We've got some spit and polish out, made all the aluminium shine for this lovely flight today. It should take around 2 hours 20 minutes to get there, a little bit of a longer sector than usual, and we have full ATC here in Lisbon. Perfect. Right, anyway, let's jump into the cockpit here. I'll turn the music down for now, but I might turn it up during boarding because we don't have any sort of boarding music in the background, unfortunately, for this mod, but it's a fantastic mod nonetheless. Right, I need to get the GPU connected first, so let's go over here. I've not touched anything. I've just loaded into the sim. We'll load up the aircraft shortly. Now, where do I get the GPU? Here we go. Thanks, Pedro, for starting that up. It's probably the loudest GPU I've ever heard, so I'm going to turn the sounds down slightly so you can actually hear me over that diesel generator. We can now get some power connected to the aircraft here. So there we are, batteries on, GPU's on the bus. Let's pop the electric hydraulic pumps are on. Leave the ground interconnect switch closed for now. Landing gear levers down. We've only got the 1, 2, 3 green lights there. We'll then check the aircraft documentation. Let's do the fault and fire tests coming down here. So there's the 3 squibs. Can't actually check the other side. There's only seems to be one system. Check the bottle discharge lights, a bit different to the NG. There's the fault test for the engine overheats loops, APU loop as well. Fire test. There we are. Fire bells galore. And fire warning light, another sticker bell is sounding, so that's all working beautifully. I love all the kind of weathered old school look the FlyJSim has. It really does look like it's been through the decades of flying. It's fantastic
50,
to see here.
40, 30,
Thank you very much to FPS City War Development Channel for another donation. I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're doing well.
Greetings from South Korea, South Korea.
Fantastic. Good day to you from South Korea. Fantastic. Now, you are very far away. That's really cool that we've got someone from South Korea watching the stream. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. You've been here before, for sure. I recognise that name. So thank you for your donation there. Very generous of you. And I hope you're having a splendid evening. Perfect. Fault fire tests are done. Let's work our way up here. Circuit breakers are all in. No IRS, we have INS up here. We check the emergency escape ropes connected. Let's do the stall warning test. Well, that's working. Flight recorder's working. Mach airspeed warning test. Concerning. Okay, I'd be talking to maintenance here to see if we get a little bit more oxygen. That's way below the minimum required for dispatch. I don't know if that's modelled or a way if we could have that actually have that topped up. In fact, you actually have the required bottle temperature and minimum PSI. So look, 2 crew, what's the temperature here in Fahrenheit? That's the next question. It's 16 degrees Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit? No clue. Look, we need at least like 600 minimum. Even if it's freezing cold, minimum 600. We're down at 100. Concerning, but we'll bypass that. I don't think I'll need it in my desktop simulator, but hopefully we won't have a depressurization, but we wouldn't be going anywhere until that's been topped up. Cool. All the gauges is where we expect them to be, and then we check the circuit breakers that side as well. Lovely. Might put a little bit of music on in the background here. Turn that generator down a little bit as well. That's better. Let's grab some ATIS online here. Now, my lovely girlfriend Mariana uses this PC quite a lot, and she's had the headset plugged in, her headset prior to that, which has actually changed my X-Pilot settings. So at the moment the output device is not my headset, because I can't hear ATC. So let me just change that. Oh dear, why is that not changed? Audio push to talk, output device. Let's try that. That's better. I should now hopefully be able to hear ATC. Let me know in chat if you don't, but I'm going to try and grab the ATIS now. Where is the frequency? ATIS 124150. I can actually use my radio tuning panel. It's already on standby. Can you hear anything, guys? I can't hear anything at the moment. It could be that there's no voice, there's no sound at all. Maybe the ATIS, sometimes there's no voice. Let me just try and tune tower here at least. Because I don't want to get started and not have any ATC, unfortunately. Just do a quick radio check. Lisbon Tower, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu radio check.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, good afternoon, readability 5.
Thank you. Did you guys hear that okay?
Portugal 1116.
I hope you can.
Runway 03, line up and away.
So I'll just switch that off there. See Hamid 7600, not quite there. No, there is nothing. Well, I couldn't hear anything either with the ATIS, so I guess the ATIS isn't on voice at the moment. Terry, hi. Who is paying for the ground power? Alpaca Airways have made sure we get the bill to the ground crew and to the airport authorities. Otherwise, we'll quickly run away like Lara International Airlines would. Right. So we've done the pre-panel scan here. Well, then carry on with the rest setup. Just say thanks to Ikri. Thank you very much, buddy, for the £2. Hi, Captain. Hope all is well. Out of curiosity, does the Chief Pilot Jack bark his orders in English or Portuguese? Talking of Portuguese, Mariana must be delighted today. Bless her. Best regards to all. Did you get that, Mariana? She goes, yeah, I don't know if you heard that. Thanks a lot, Ikri 002. Very generous of you. And I hope you're doing well. And thanks for offering ATC all the time in Malta. We'll make sure we head that way soon. Right. I'm all thrown. So ATIS, yes. Let me just grab the ATIS on text. Oh, I've actually lost the ATIS now altogether. It's not even online on X-Pilot. Well, let's rely on the METAR. Right now in Lisbon, clear skies, light winds. QNH is 1028. So we'll set that here. Set that on the standby altimeter, which is here, and on the first officer's. Jim's never set the QNH in his life. There we are. Good day to you, Rory Heap. Hope you're doing very well. Thanks for popping in. We're in the 737-200 today, sir. So imagine we've got the ATIS. Now let's have a little look at this operational flight plan today. So here she is. So the weather in Ponta Delgada, our alternate, is okay. Right now it's scattered at 300, there's a Cat 1 ILS available. The forecast, low cloud base, but again, worst case is 2,000 metres, scattered at 200. So it should be fine for the Cat 1 ILS, and that's absolute worst case. It's a remote set of islands, the Azores, in the middle of the Atlantic. So when it comes to planning to going somewhere here where there's not many options available with regards to alternates, you have to be very careful at the planning stage regarding fuel. Now, thankfully, I said there aren't many options. There are 2 suitable alternates for the 737 here. Our planned alternate, which is Santa Maria, and there's another one here called, it's a half civil, half military airport. I think it's pronounced Azores. Here. So we do have 2 options. Our first planned alternate, Santa Maria, again, visibility isn't that great. For planning, if the weather at your destination is below minimums at the planning stage, you need 2 alternates, and both those alternates you need to have the ceiling, the cloud base, and the visibility 1 category, approach category below with regards to visibility better. So for terrible way of explaining that was. So if our alternate here at Santa Maria, it has a Cat 1 ILS available at the planning stage, we need to make sure we have the ceiling, the cloud base, and the visibility required for a non-precision approach, which in this case here they do have a localizer approach. You check the NOTAMs, there's no NOTAMs here to affect it, and then you check to make sure the weather is above forecast to be within an hour of your ETA either side, above that required for a non-precision approach. I've checked it, it is. The worst case we've got for our arrival, the scattered 800, scattered 3,500. For up here, our second alternate option, Azores, is fine as well. Worst case, 200 at 50 knots, scattered at 700, Cat 1 ILS available. The non-precision approach, again, only requires an RVR of 1,000 metres, so it's all good. Great. X-plane's crashed and I've not even done anything. Well, there you go. Wow. Well, if it was to crash at any time, I'd say it'd be now. What on earth has caused that to happen? It crashed yesterday. The only thing I've started using again was Sim Toolkit Pro. So I'm going to put it down to that. Let me just check the log, guys. At least all I've got to do is fire up the sim. It'll only take me 10 minutes, so not the end of the world, but yeah. I did a practice 50, sector yesterday.
40, 30,
practice sector yesterday
20,
worked completely fine
10.
Until I landed, and then again right now it's the overlay. But if it was to crash, I'd rather it crash now.
What is the GP you're talking about? I'm sitting out here on an exercise bike connected to the plane. Hurry up, I'm getting tired.
Thank you very much, Jim. Stay out there, carry on doing the walk around. A few technical issues we've got in the flight deck today. Thank you. Right, let's have a little look here at the log. I'm going to turn off Sim Toolkit Pro. I'm definitely not going to use that today because that's the only thing I've started using again, and it crashed yesterday and now. So let me just completely shut that down. Here in the background. So, Sim Toolkit Pro. Oh no, I accidentally closed something else down there, I think. Right, Sim Toolkit Pro is being Control-Alt-deleted. Just before I do anything, guys, I just want to check the log. Where am I looking here? Stream, custom scenery, no. X-Plane 11, resources. Oh no, it's not in resources. Sorry, it's in the main menu. Log. There we are. So I have a little look myself. Not that I'm very good at decoding these sort of things. Right at the end, it says, "Oh, it's exactly what happened yesterday. X-Plane destroyed a GUI plugin window. Please report this to Laminar Research. Thread fatal assert. Possibly out of range vector." Right, well, I'll send this to the guys at Discord. It's exactly the same one I got yesterday. So I'm sure someone will be able to decode that, hopefully. I managed to, as I said, I did an entire practice sector yesterday with no issues. And of course now, when I'm streaming, it all goes to pot. Right, I'll pop that back in the log, in the live stream chat. I'm sure someone will be able to decode it, but it is the same one I had there. But the only change I have made is the livery, which I'm pretty sure it's not caused any issues having run multiple tests here. And I've updated Xpilot, but again, I had the updated version of the test sector. So what I'll do, I'm just going to go to the Be Right Back screen, guys, and then hopefully I'll get it up and running. And then we'll start exactly where we left off. Sorry for this, but technical problems do happen, and we'll get things up and running shortly. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Here we are. Everything reset and rebooted. My oh my. Well, I've no idea what could have caused that. Apparently it's linking towards Xpilot, and I had a spate of crashes around 2 weeks ago every time I was using Xpilot and Sim Toolkit Pro. I stopped using Sim Toolkit Pro. The crashes stopped. I started using it again yesterday after Xpilot was updated. Crashed after the approach. Linked to Xpilot. Crashed just now. Linked to Xpilot. So let's just return to what the issue was before. Potentially Sim Toolkit Pro with my setup. I've been talking to the developer. There's been no other reports of anyone having problems. I saw in chat some people were also saying they've been using Sim Toolkit Pro and Xpilot had no problems whatsoever. So it's just one of those things, unfortunately. Nothing I can do about it. It's a shame because that means we don't have the overlay, so you can't see any of the flight details, which is a real pain. But so be it. I'll try and explain throughout the sector how many minutes we are, etc, etc. But sorry about the 10-minute intermission and all the time it took there. So let's just quickly get exactly where we were before. Battery on. GPU will pop on the bus. Right. I can't remember which one options is there. I'll turn that down here. There we are. GPU's on the bus. Battery hydraulic pumps on. Green lights checked. We did the fault fire test earlier. Panel scan. We checked everything up here. Stall warning test we did. Airspeed warning test. We discussed the low oxygen. And that's it regarding configuration. The rest will set up later. Perfect. So we're pretty much exactly where we were before. So we got the ATIS and the weather. ATIS is now online. 124150. Looks like it's still not on voice, but I can get it on text at least. ILS approach runway 03 in use for departure clearance contact 121.750. So we'll put that on standby. Oh, I keep forgetting about my new radio tuning panel. So that's set. After landing vacate, that's not for us. 13 degrees, 2.5 QNH 1028 now. So 1028. 1028 and 1028. Perfect. So we're exactly as we were before. Now, as we were discussing just before the sim crash there, I'll have to get all the flight plans up again. That's really annoying. We looked at the fuel and the requirements for the fuel. So right now, the weather at our destination is low cloud-based visibilities. Is fine. The worst case is fine for our approach today, so it's not below the forecast worst conditions upon arrival. If it was, we'd need two alternates where the weather is above the minimum required, and they both are, both Santa Maria and Azores, or however it's pronounced in Portuguese. Not like that, that's for sure. Now, we'll talk about this more en route. Now, the aircraft we're flying today is non-ETOPS certified. If you're a non-ETOPS certified aircraft, you have to make sure you're within 1 hour's flight time single engine of a suitable alternate. So we'll discuss that en route. We do have here Funchal, and next to Funchal is Porto Santo, which is a suitable alternate for a 7-3. And essentially, when we go flying in the NG Oceanic on the Tango Airways, we have to make sure we're using fixed rings, that we're always within the single engine flight time, which is 427 miles for the 737. If you're flying over a body of water, that's reduced to 400 nautical miles, depending if you have, I think it's a life raft or something on board the aircraft. So for essentially us, 400. And I can assure you this routing, we should be within an hour of a suitable alternate all the way. And whilst we're en route as well, we'll discuss an equal time point. That's a point at which we must, if we want to get back to Lisbon, we must do a U-turn at this point. And it's a very simple arithmetic, very classic ATPL themed question as well, so we'll look at all of that en route. Otherwise, we'll carry on for the rest of the setup. Now, the weather, as I said, at destination is fine. If it wasn't that great in Ponta Delgada, you'd actually consider taking fuel to even divert all the way back to Lisbon. In fact, you know, it is an option so long as it doesn't affect your maximum takeoff weight or landing weight. Today, I'd be confident in using either of these two alternates near the airport. With the weather as it is forecast, you also could take an alternate for Porto Santo down here if that was an option too. But as it's FlyJSim, as anything could potentially happen, we'll take a little bit of additional fuel. 30 minutes or so, just in case that cloud base, that scattered cloud base, could get a little bit lower. So 8.2 tons is the minimum required. We'll take 30 minutes, which is 1200 on top of that. So we'll ask for 9.4 tons of fuel. Which is here. Total fuel 9.4. And passenger-wise, we will be taking. I said full. However, these ones empty and these ones empty. Look at you can see the aircraft moving as the centre of gravity moves, and that should give us a zero fuel weight of 38.5 tons. There we are, 38,470. So you can see here, based off the our current actual weight, gross weight 47,926. We're just above the max landing weight, so only 300 kilos above it. So that's why that's gone red. So if we were to take off, by the time we've leveled off, we'll have burned that fuel to get back here below the max landing weight. So just 800 kilos in the centre. So fuel is loaded, 76 passengers, and their carry-on baggage, no checked-in baggage today. That's all set. So we've got the weather, QNH 1027. We'd now be loading up the FMS. At this point here, we'll be loading up the INS.
Service now.
Oh, I did that again. Right, Control A is my shortcut, but I think if you push Control S, you get all the service trucks attached. Well, let's hope it doesn't do that thing where they stay attached a few streams ago. Very good. Cool. So, if you guys check out my Instagram account, you'll be able to see this map, which I have printed, and I've plotted all of the INS waypoints that I wish to program for our sector today, if you're interested. I have that printed out in front of me, but I will be making reference to this here, so you can see which INS waypoints I'm programming. So, let me get my printed operational flight plan here. Again, guys in chat, do excuse my lack of attention. I will, of course, in the cruise have much more time to answer any questions. So I just want to get the show on the road, especially as we're running 20 minutes late because of the crash we had right at the start. So, how do we load up the INS? First thing we're going to do is move this switch to standby. And we need to rotate this to position. We need to tell the INS where we are. So, we'll get the charts out. Annoyingly, because the sim crashed, I have to load them all in again. And that's Ponta Delgada, wrong airport. Lima Papa Tango. There we go. So we'll select parking stands. Here we are on the remote apron. We're on stand 222, I think it was. There you are, 222. Scenery's TDG, by the way, guys. So we go here to INS coordinates chart. We need to locate stand 222. Here it is, 222 to 223. And here are coordinates we need to punch in. Now, annoyingly, because of where the speed brake's positioned, it's annoying to see the INS. Just remind me, guys, to stow the speed brake after I've loaded the INS, otherwise it's hard to type in. So, our position is north, 38 degrees, 45 minutes, 0.9 seconds. Insert west 9080. So west 009 08.0. Hello, Mariana.
Hello.
How are you? Would you like to load the INS? Are you writing down pronunciations for all the places I'm going? Whose birthday is it? Nordski. Happy birthday to you. I'm sorry I missed that in chat. Mariana's come here to remind me it's your birthday. Superb. Happy birthday to you. I'm so happy that you come in to spend some time with us. Very, very cool. FlyJSim as well. It's my birthday, FlyJSim. Graduate me, please. I will be 13 years old. Graduation given. Right, we've told the INS our present position then. What we need to now do is move this switch to a line. That'll take whatever the latitude is, how many minutes to align, probably 8-9 minutes or so. And now we can program the waypoints we need. So we'll move this switch to waypoints, program waypoint number 1. And the first waypoint we're going to program is the end of our SID. So we're going to be flying today the Special for November. You don't pronounce the E, Mariana's told me. And the first waypoint we're going to program is the end of that SID, which is Echo Sierra Papa. Now, where is that? Oh, great. I've completely forgot to number the flight plan, the waypoints on my flight plans. So just give me 2 seconds. 1, Busan is number 2, Negri is number 3. The reason is, if I don't do this properly, I can really screw everything up, because there's no backup, there's no VORs here en route. So if I make a mistake, that's it. We're in trouble, essentially. Perfect. So let's program Echo Sierra Papa 12.5. Here's the coordinates. So that's going to be north 38.25.4. 38.25.4. Insert west 9.1.1.1. So 009 11.1. Oh, was that the ATIS coming in? Well, I'm pretty confident that we've got the pretty happy with the ATIS we've got here, so I'll just disconnect that frequency. There we are. So waypoint number 1 is programmed. Waypoint number 2 is going to be Busan, north 38.32.7. It's hold on. Let me just do that again. That's why you got to be so careful here. So north 38.32.7. Insert west 0 1 1 2 3 4. There we are. Insert waypoint number 3, Negri, north 38.52.7. Insert west 01324 01324 3 01323 243. Insert halfway, guys. Not so many to program today. Waypoint number 4 is Gunty, north 39 1 2 3. Insert west 0 1 5 0 0 0 0 0. And that's the oceanic entry point from Lisbon Control to Santa Maria Oceanic at Gunty, so 46 minutes into the flight. Then we're going to Lency. We're on the Tango 25 Oceanic Airway then. So waypoint number 5, Lency. That's north 39 1 2 3. Insert. West 0 2 1 2 3 4 0 2 0 0. Insert waypoint number 6, Bavas. Our penultimate waypoint need to program. North 39 1 2 3. Insert west 2 3 47 2 3 4 0 7 023 40.7. Insert. And lastly, waypoint number 7, which is the beginning of the arrival. And oh no, sorry, not the beginning of the arrival. Varas is that, but the termination point for the conventional arrival is Sao Miguel, Victor Mike Golf, north 3750.8. 3750.8. Insert west 25455 025 45.5. Insert. There we go. All waypoints have been programmed. We can move this over to STS to see how long the alignment takes. 095. A little ticky bird told me to push that to speed up the alignment. There we go. Alignment's complete. Move that to nav, and there we go. You've got all the information required. Wind information doesn't know because we need to be moving. Distance and time to the next waypoint is 20 miles. Obviously, we're not moving, so it's indefinite. Waypoint number 7. Obviously, I have that selected. Present position, cross-track error, heading, track and ground speed. So everything we need. And it's a self-contained system. There's no input from anything external. You can update it using DME. But there's no GPS on this aircraft, just conventional navigation and a self-contained INS system. Thanks for your patience. Lucas, one more question. Is the Siva integrated into the 732 and the 727, or do you need to buy it separate? It's a separate add-on, Lucas, but it isn't that much. It's less than £10 for sure. Bad M says 737-200 flights on Britannia are Orion, Air Europe and British Air Tours. The stream is going to take me back to my childhood. Many thanks. That's super cool, Badem. Very, very nice. So, INS is loaded. Let's quickly look at the takeoff performance here. They've got a nice little bug card here. It's just based off full takeoff power, which is fine. So we're going to use flap 5 today based off our gross weight set bugs. So V1's going to be 33, VR's 35, V2's 140, and I'm going to fly out around V2 plus 15 until 1,000 feet AGL, so that's 1,400 feet, so around 155, and then we'll bug up and accelerate. Trim's going to be 4.85 units. There you go. Just need to remember to stow that because I had it moved out of the way to load the INS. So you can click that and it sets the trim for you, which is again great, and the takeoff EPR setting will be 2.15, which is set on the bugs. Remember, no auto throttle, you have to set those bugs manually. There you go there. Simon Taylor, does anyone else get severe stuttering when using the Seaver? Yes, Simon, you need to fix that in Plane Maker. As you can see, I have no stuttering now. The instructions for that are available in the FlyJSim Discord. You've got to do some tweaking and twiddling, but once it's updated, you don't get any of the stutters which you are reporting. I indeed had them there. Perfect. Pilot Chops, I bought the Indie Builds A300 and I love it, and without you I would not have known about it. Many thanks. It's a fantastic aircraft, really is. Really one of my favourite payer aircraft. Right, let's do a panel scan up here. So flight controls, the grounding to connect switch is closed, so that I think that means that the electric hydraulic pumps, which are just on system B, can't pressurise the left hand side. But once you get the engine started, that disconnects. I believe if you open this, there you go, the electric hydraulic pumps can pressurise the system here, but I think on the ground you leave this closed. It's a difference with the 200 compared to the NG. So they're all closed, yaw damper on. Thankfully we don't have to worry about keeping the heading bugs slaved to the compass. It does that automatically. These are all in normal. Fuel pumps are on. We've got almost a ton in the centre tank, so we'll put the centre tank pumps on as well and check the crossfeed valve. Fuel very cold for the fact that the actual outside temperatures around the same. That's more like the fact we just landed or flown somewhere. I don't think that's correctly modelled. Galley power will turn on for now. Frequency hertz. It's a bit low, but that's supposed to look in the standby power system. Doesn't seem to change anyway, but we'll leave that as it was. Get the APU started very shortly. Seatbelt sign can come on, no smoking as well. Test the intent, but wipers are not required at this stage. Window heat can come on. Probe heat later. We'll close the doors shortly as well. Gonna get that APU up and running. There she goes. Slave, normal, packs on, isolation valve open. Cruising at 32,000 feet, this is about as high as we can go. 32,000 feet, 6,600 feet for the cabin altitude. Elevation in Ponta Delgada is... Let me just grab the chart here. It is 250 feet. Wicked. That's set. Put that switch in flight. That's a difference as well with the NG. If you don't do that, the aircraft won't pressurise, as I learnt when I first bought this aircraft. Perfect. That should be on. APU not quite available yet. Right. Let's have this all set up for our departure here. So again, because the sim crashed, I need to reselect the charts. Don't need the INS chart anymore. That's the only ground chart I need. And the departure... Oops. The only conventional SID they have here is this departure we're flying today. All the others are RNAV based. So we need the Special for November. There it is. This is the only conventional SID they have. So we're going to be flying on departure runway heading, which, if we grab the airport chart, is 026 degrees, so 026. And put the courses to 026 as well initially. I'm going to have to set this all up for raw data. No fancy LNAV today. I'm going to have to be using the needles for sure. And it says for us Climb initially to flight level 60. So we'll put 6,100 as we don't have the clearance yet. For us, runway 03, climb straight ahead to Rockop. So how do we know we're at Rockop? Well, Rockop is going to be on the 127 radial, which we'll have to be flying outbound for a short distance for, at 3.7 miles. So what we'll do, we'll set this course to 127. And we'll tune up the Lisbon VR 14.8. There you are, that's already swinging round to come alive here. So basically, as soon as that HSI comes alive, we'll initiate that turn, and then we're going to go right just for 10 DME until we get to Ruku. So Rockov, turn right, intercept the 127 radial, which we have tuned here to Riku. We know Riku because we've got the DME distance here of 10, so 10.2. So as soon as it says 10, that's fine. And then we're going to make a left turn, 206, inbound to Special. So 206. I'll have Jim set that up his side. And that VOI is 12.5. Cool. And it looks like they're already tuned. Now what you can do, and what you should do, is prior to using these navigators, actually check the ident. So if you switch this to nav, make sure we've got the dots and dashes. So that's definitely Lisbon, and then we can listen to nav 2, which is tuned to Echo Sierra Papa. Might not always get them on the ground because it is reliant on line of sight. Mike, I think you can use the INS to help out with drift and such too. Yes, it'll calculate everything for you. There we are, there's Echo Sierra Papa, and you do the same with the DME as well to confirm that's correct. Perfect, right, now let's grab our clearance and get out of here. We're all good to go. 44 minutes, not so bad. Again, apologies for the technical issue at the start. I do practice these sectors prior to streaming. Everything worked fine. All of a sudden I turned Sim Talking Pro on and boom, but thank goodness it happened there, not 10 minutes on a final approach here. Right, so let's just close the doors. You can see the shadow, look, that's cool. Shut off that very loud GPU. Oh, that's better. And get the APU bleed connected. There we are. So nice pressurised air in the cabin. Cool. So only ground online now. 121.75. Which I'll make active. Perfect. And it was information Delta. At Lisbon ground, boa tarde, it's Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, stand 222, information Delta QNH 1028, request departure clearance to Ponta Delgada.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, Lisbon ground, boa tarde, information Echo QNH 1028, break clear to Ponta Delgada via Echo Sierra Papa 4 November, departure Squawk 4767.
Cleared to Ponta Delgada via the Special 4 November, departure Squawk 4767, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, back correct.
Perfect, so as we briefed, the Speciale, my pronunciation is 4 November is all over the place, flight level 60 as discussed, and the Squawk we can set now, which is 4767. Good business. Right, guys, without further ado then, let's get the engine started. So we're going to do a power back today. Everyone always wants power back so we fly this aircraft because we've got the buckets. And we're all good to go. Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, stand 222. Request engine start on stand, and we'll request power back in about 5 minutes.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, from you only want to start up.
AFM, just engine start for now, please. Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, roger, start up, approved, callback for pushback.
Start approved, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Perfect. So,
Easy 141, stand 115, ready for push and start.
anti-collision light is on.
141, push and start, approved.
Parking brake is set, transponder is
Push and start facing south,
out
Easy
off. Check's
141.
complete. Guys, you ready to hear these Fantastic engines. Here we go.
Alpaca to the Gulf, ready to taxi.
Look at the highly buffed fuselage here. Does Lisbon allow power back, said Kirosh. They do now. Not many aircraft that would ever do this now.
Taxi via Mike to holding point.
So just 20% N2 required
5,
on the 200. Put the fuel in. How much polish, said Pilot Mike? A lot of power polish here. Jim has been out all night. There you go, that's bringing back some memories for some of the viewers, no doubt. Amazing. Right, engine number 2 looks stable. It says in the manual as soon as the low oil pressure light extinguishes you can start engine number 1. So we'll monitor the engine start on the gauges here so you can see what's going on, having done an external start. So N2. See the oil pressures on this gauge here. It doesn't actually start increasing, I think, until you put the fuel in. There you go, poof, it jumps up as soon as you get the fuel. So oil pressure lights extinguished, EGT stabilising. There we are, looks all good here, so 2 good engine starts. Starter cut out, and both engines 1 and 2 are stable. Let's do the before taxi flow before we request the power back. So generators on, APU off, start switches continuous. Or low ignition, propane on, anti-ice not required, packs on, isolation valve auto, APU bleed is off, and that's all set. Flaps 5 for departure, flight controls.
Ground, good afternoon.
Full forward.
Alpha is stand 221
full back,
type,
left
737-800,
and right. Here comes the rudders. Full right and full left centre. That's why I need to do the rudder check, because my little gripper thing off my rudder pedals is not there, so my rudder pedals just moved whilst I was doing the rudder check. There we go, that should have fixed it.
Clear to Ponta Delgada via Especial for November departures, Squawk 4726.
That's better, perfect. Rudders, full right and left.
Cleared Lima Papa Papa
recall checks complete.
Especially for November departure, Squawk 4726.
So, again, as we discussed earlier, when flying to a remote island like this, someone was asked about the question, do you do these often? I've never done a flight on an oceanic sector. But we'd again check the weather, get an update. Is it still okay with the alternates? Yes, it is. If it wasn't that great in the Azores, we'd actually be trying to take round-trip fuel. If it's really bad, we'd probably cancel the flight because of the remoteness of the island. But as I said, destination weather is above limits for our arrival. The alternates, yeah, close, very close to actually wanting an alternate one there. But we'll, for the sakes of the stream, take what we've got there. Perfect. We can now request power back. So I'll turn the music off for now. Gwen Jones, what happens if the weather is bad on the way? You divert around it. Actually, we've got Pilot Mike here, who's a good friend of mine, who helps you run my members' Discord. He is a first officer on the 787, so he's here to actually answer any, if he's around for a bit, oceanic-related questions. But there are procedures for weather avoidance when there's no ATC available when flying oceanic, which I've been looking at today.
Highway 118, decimal 1, packet to Gulf, bye. Issue 141, we are ready to taxi.
Loud.
Mike 5, runway 03 via Mike 141.
Alpaca 89 at Alpha, Zulu stand 222, request power back from stand.
Request push start.
Did you say approved?
Push start approved, facing north, Azores 153.
At ground, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, just confirm power back approved.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, power back approved, just traffic pushing back on your left.
Roger, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Yeah, we'll be cautious, don't worry about that. Right, enjoy this, guys, then. So parking brake is released. I'm holding on the brakes now. Here we go. Very important not to brake, otherwise you'll tip the aircraft down. So if you need to stop, stow the buckets like I have done, nav thrust. There you go. Power back's complete. Parking brake is set, and we've already done the before taxi flow. Very cool. Now I'm not sure actually if you do the before taxi flow before the power back or after the power back. Not sure. Probably after the power back. But it was fun. That was very fun. If you, Domino Mosini would probably do this in a 738 in real life, wouldn't you? If I could, yes, but you're going to risk sucking up all the gravel and muck.
Azores 153, ready to taxi.
Azores 153, taxi link point Mike 503 Nordic.
So taxi for us, not too far. We're on the egg apron, and it's going to be 03 for departure. Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, request taxi in sequence.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, just follow Charlie. When ready, follow traffic to link point Mike 503 Nordic.
Via Mike to Mike 5, runway 03, and we'll make sure we're squawking mode Charlie, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. So I'm just taking a look at my X-Pilot client. Yes, we're not actually...
Alpaca 91 Alpha, requesting push and start.
So I'm going to put out on. There we are. That's mode Charlie.
Alpaca 91 Alpha.
There we are. He's on his way. So release parking brake. Just do a quick config check. There we are. No takeoff config warning.
Push and start approved, face north, Alpaca 91
On our way.
Alpha.
And it should hopefully still be sunlight by the time we get to the Azores. Sunset's at 6:30, and it's less, and that's 2.5 hours away. And the flight time's around 2 hours 20.
118.1 issue 141.
So I'll put tower on standby. 118.1.
1951.
So clear right, clear left. Just got his speed brakes out.
Request taxi.
Are you 1951? Taxi link point November 2 Hanoi 03 via Golf Uniform November.
Very sensitive in taxi. There we are.
Taxi holding point.
So now on Mike, I'm going to hold point Mike 5.
Uniform November.
So we're just here on Mike 3,
1951.
carrying on there, and a slight left turn to get to Mike 5. Looking good.
Lisbon Grand November 20143.
November 201 forward 3, Lima ground overhead.
Grand November 20143. We'd like to pick up our IFR at Ponta Delgada.
5,
Apparently, are you using FlyJSim? Yes, we are.
181, Azores 153 with that.
So do the before takeoff checklist now. So config we checked, flaps we have, 5 green lights, stab trim set for departure, 4.8, 4.9 units set, takeoff briefing. Pax auto bleeds on, V speeds are set. Here's a little bug card to check, 133, 135 and V2 140. Just got V1 bugs here.
20143 is clear.
And NADP2 departure. Our departure, we're going to climb straight ahead, runway heading, until we intercept the 127 radial from Lisbon. Make a right turn outbound 127 until 10 DME. And once we're at 10 miles, we're going to make our tower 118.1 Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu Giro. Once we get to 10 miles, we're going to make a right turn and intercept the 206 inbound to Special, which is on 12.5, climbing to flight level 60. That's the checks there. Now I'll show you on the chart sort of what that looks like. Actually don't need the taxi chart here. Straight ahead, this radial will be coming in here. My HSI, and then another left turn inbound to Ruka. And we've got the RMI for backup here as well, where the needles will be pointing where we need to go. So it's a 026 radial we need to intercept 206 inbound. There we are, check's complete. Tower is active. Parking brake will set that. And we're number 4 for departure. Looking good. Zombler, the FlyJSim 732 sometimes gives me 0 airspeed indication during the takeoff rolls. Yeah, so the initial takeoff roll, the indicated airspeed on the digits here won't display until I think it's 45 knots. I think we'll see on the takeoff roll, but the needles you should see increasing quite quickly. Sebastian Roden fixed. Yeah, you're referring to the crash we had earlier. Fingers crossed. The only thing I've done is shut down what was causing issues in the past, which is, for me personally, the overlay, the SIM toolkit Pro overlay.
Virgin 3171, wind 090 at 5 knots, continue approach.
So it looks like Wiz just taken off. Checking as well. Is it Lisbon Tower? They don't have a name here, do they? It is Lisbon Tower. Hello, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. 1 Mike 5 ready for departure in sequence.
Alpaca 89er Alpha Zulu, after departure, maintain runway heading, climb flight level 60.
After departure, we maintain runway heading, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, climb flight level 60. Okay, fine. Change departure. So long as he sends me direct to a programmed waypoint in the INS afterwards, that's fine. Otherwise, ideally the SID. But we'll let him deal with that. So if he gives us a left turn direct to Busan, perfect. That's going to be direct to waypoint number 2.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thanks a lot, Nicholas
Thanks
Arnold.
for the many hours of
Oh,
entertainment.
you're welcome.
What airplane would you like to fly in real life that you haven't flown yet?
Good work. Good translation there, Microsoft Janine. Thank you very much, Nicholas, for the $5. Very kind of you. If I had any opportunity to fly any aircraft, most likely Spitfire. Commercially, love to have a go on an Airbus or any of the wide-body Boeings, but only temporarily. Very happy flying the NG. Based at home. Occasionally go out of base, of course, but I like the roster I have at work in normal times, that is. And yeah, very happy where I am. But yeah, if I had the opportunity,
line up and wait, runway 03 behind.
the opportunity to fly a classic like a Spitfire would be great.
Wait behind the traffic, easy 141.
What's that he's in there? Can't see. Is that a 7-8? I think he's in a 7-8, isn't he? All this traffic, remember, if you're new to flight simming, this is on the online network VATSIM, so these are other players, these are other people flying a simulated aircraft on the network. Very clever. D-Space Flight Director is off. Oh, the Flight Director on this, I don't like it. I mean, it does give some basic guidance. On the ILS I'll use it, but it's not, this autopilot is very basic. It has the capability of maintaining a heading, maintaining a speed in the climb, holding altitude, and also following either a radial or your INS navigation. So everything you need. But I'll just set a target altitude around 15 degrees, whatever it takes to maintain around V2 plus 15 plus 20. Andrew Allen, could you fly a Spitfire? Most probably not. If I was jumping one, I wouldn't know how to start it. I'd like to think I could somehow get one on the ground, but I know they're very tricky to land because the tricycle landing gear, they're so close together compared to, say, the Hurricane. But I could confidently say jump into a Spitfire and fly it, that's for sure.
Wind 090 at 5 knots, runway 03 cleared for takeoff.
19.1 after departure, clear for takeoff if you want push.
So when you spool these engines up, you've got to be very smooth.
Virgin
If you do it too quickly, engines surge.
Contact Lisbon ground 121.750, bye-bye.
Contacting ground 121.750, service.
Lisbon Tower, Korea 1951, holding short, November 10.
Korea 1951,
Yeah, my brakes sometimes limp to parking brakes, so I think every time I hold the brake down, it's the same effect of having the parking brakes set.
1951. Azores 153, runway 03, line up and wait. Line up and wait, runway 03, Azores 153.
So he's going to the Azores for sure. I can't. The way the Portuguese pronounce Azores is like Azores. It's like a J sound. I just can't do it for love nor money. Very difficult for me. Lisbon approaches on line 11901. And it's an automatic changeover frequency, so once I get airborne I have to go over to them there. It's on the...
1951, yes, you should be going to November 2, I believe.
So after takeoff, contact Lisbon approach when passing 1,000 feet, mentioning only the call sign, passing altitude and SID. There you go.
Roger, thank you. If you can, otherwise just move on to Mike 5, no problem.
His spoilers are still up. I think that's just his spoilers aren't physically up in the sim. I think it's just the way it's displayed.
Thank you so much. Sorry for inconvenience. No worries.
It is a Z, Azores.
Azores 153 after wind 0905 knots, runway 03, clear for takeoff. Visible, move to top.
Perfect. So I wonder if Santa Maria Oceanic's online.
Clear takeoff 03.
Fun, trying to get Oceanic clearance.
Confirm after the
I think they also simulate HF on that sim as well. Even though I don't have a HF radio modelled. Oh, it is. We do have Santa Maria Oceanic online.
Alpaca 89er Alpha Zulu behind departing traffic. Line up and wait runway 03 behind.
Line departing traffic, line up and wait behind runway 03 Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Perfect. So parking brakes released. He's on his way. So Jim, confirm we cleared the line up. A firm, Captain. Clear left, clear right. Checks below the line then. Strobes on, transponder, TARA, and there's a little radar here as well. Tilt +5, weather, the range of 40 miles. +5 there out. So MCP is as set as it can be. Transponder TARA, strobe lights are on, and we're just waiting for our takeoff clearance. It's now to no longer fly the SID, but to climb runway heading to flight level 60. Lovely. I'll leave the SID setup as it is, but maintaining heading will make my life a little bit easier for departure. Amazing, 950 people watching, fantastic. If you're enjoying watching some retro flying, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe as well to stay up to date. We're out to take off on a 2-hour, 20-minute sector to the Azores in an aircraft which has no GPS, no FMS, INS only. It's going to be very fun. Oceanic procedures, equal tide points, all these things we're going to try and work out later. It's going to be very, very fun. Any other passengers? Sit anxiously at this relic. Very polished. I saw Jim checking out his perm earlier.
Alpaca 89er Alpha Zulu, after departure, contact Lisbon approach on 119.1, winds 090 knots, runway 03, cleared for takeoff, bye-bye.
After departure, approach on 119.1, runway 03, cleared takeoff, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Bye now. Perfect, so let's make a note of the time, because we don't have a timer. It's 16:08, 16:08. Let's go, guys. Toga's in chat, even though there isn't Toga. So we've got a 50%, engines all stabilise, in the green, nothing's looking scary there. Right, let's say set to takeoff thrust. 2.15 EPR. So just fine tuning that thrust, there we are, takeoff thrust set, indications are normal, light forward pressure on the control column.
80 knots.
Checked, release that forward pressure.
Rotate.
Up we go. Now we're airborne. Let's go to around 15 degrees. Plus rate of climb, gears coming up. Maintain around 155, 160 knots. Around 20 degrees, look at that. Up we go. It's a flying mirror. Right, there's 1,000 feet. We'll contact departures. And 1,000 feet AGL will bug up. Do around 220 knots. Oh, get the middle marker. Flaps 1. And flaps up. Departures, hello, it's Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, maintaining runway heading, climbing flight level 60, passing 19.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, Lisbon approach, one target identified. On runway heading, climb flight level 40.
Maintain runway heading, just confirm the cleared flight level, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Climb flight level 240.
Climb flight level 240 at Alpaca 89 at Alpha, correction, 40 confirmed.
Directive 240.
Okay. Climb flight level 240 Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Thank you. Perfect. So 240 set, maintain 220 knots. Just going to trim for this speed here. Maintain runway heading. Happy with that. So if we were flying the SID look, we would make that right turn now, but obviously we were told to maintain heading. So heading select. Pull in. IS hold. There we are, heading select.
Alpha Zulu, left, turn left, heading 310.
Left turn heading 310 degrees, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. So he's doing me a big favour, massive shortcut on the SID here. Accelerating to 250 knots now as well, heading 310.
Easy 141, contact Lisbon Control, 131.325.
And we'll do the after takeoff checklist. Climb thrust around 92%, a little bit too much off there. It's a bit late setting there. So gears off, water brakes off. Air conditioning and pressurisation 2.0. Here's where we want them set. Release the cabin crew. And we can take the retracts off and the tax lights already off. There we are, after takeoff checklist complete.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, resume on navigation, proceed direct to Gunti.
Route direct to Gunti, Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu. So Gunti, guys, is the oceanic entry point, so we need to be very careful here with the INS. So we need to remember which waypoint program that Gunti was. So if we go here, Gunti was number 4, we can double check it. Gunti, North 39, West 015. If we switch this to waypoints, look, check number 4. North 390, West 015000. So I'm happy that's correct. We go here to waypoint change, select 0, which is present position, direct to Gunti, which is number 4. And then we move this switch, that's for the fuel, that's fine. We then switch this over to GPS, even though it's not GPS, and then switch this over to Vorlock, and engages the INS to route direct to the waypoint Gunti, which is 270 miles away, and that's going to take 57 minutes. There we are.
Descent 4000 QNH 1028, Lufthansa 33 Mike.
Perfect.
Azores 153, contact Lisbon Control.
There you go.
131.325. 131.325, Azores 153, boa tarde.
Just realised Eric's very loud here. Perfect, there's flight level 100. So we can now accelerate to 280 knots, which I think is the recommended climb speed before we get to decimal 74. Our cruise speed today, so we can accelerate to 28. Set standard, very, very good.
And approach, hello.
Testing all of you here, so 1013 set once, twice, and it's a good job you spotted that because our initial climb was flight level 60, and that's why the workload on this aircraft is tenfold. It's so much higher, unfamiliar. Yes, it's a 737, but it's not an NG, but well spotted, guys. Of course I was only testing you. Right, 280 knots, passing 116 for flight level 240. Pre-cruise checks, fuel, 4 pumps. We've got 9,300 pounds per side. Oh, where's my calculator? What's that in kilos? 9,300 times 2 divided by 2.2. It's about 8.5 tons of fuel. Let's actually see how close I was. Oh, look at that, 8577 pounds to kilo conversion. Very good. 8.5 tons, and that's sufficient for now. Lights coming off. to turn the start switches off. Look. APU's off, pressurisation 4.5 set. Release passengers recall. There we are, check's complete. Just a test, yeah, exactly, Kirosh. It's weird, but guys, how's the audio? I think it's my headset. I'm getting some very weird crackling sounds in my headset, but I don't think it's going to be a problem for you guys hearing it, but I'm definitely hearing it. Perfect. So we made a note of the airborne time. That's really important because we don't have an FMS for our time and fuel checks. So 16:08. Getting a direct like this makes it quite tricky to know when you're actually passing a beam, your waypoints to do fuel checks. But it will make our ETA easy for Oceanic Entry. Everything's fine for you. I think it's my headset then, guys. It could be on the way out. Because it's crackling loads. Especially if I'm moving my head. There's a lot of crackling. But you're getting the audio straight from the PC, so it should be fine. So yeah, if you guys have Instagram, you check out my Instagram story, you'll be able to see that we're on our little route map, routing direct from our present position, which was just to the north of Lisbon, direct to waypoint number 4. Waypoint number 4 was Gunti, which is the oceanic entry point for Santa Maria.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, contact Lisbon Control on frequency 131.325.
131.325, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Thanks a lot for the ATC, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Affirm, Alpaca 36. Alpaca 36, Mike Roger, do you want to audition now, or you wish to wait at 340?
Oh, getting light in here.
I can descend if that helps you, Alpaca 36, Mike. Alpaca 36, Mike Roger, audition to flight level 330. Sound 330. Air Portugal 1861, radar services terminated to surveillance.
He definitely sounds Portuguese.
Cockpit with Santa Maria on 132.075.
So at some point we actually need to get our oceanic clearance. In reality, if you're on a domestic sector, it's written in our manuals, you need to get your oceanic clearance at a minimum 40 minutes before oceanic entry. I think obviously departing Ponta Delgada being in there, departing Lisbon to Ponta Delgada, we haven't quite got that amount of time to get your clearance. As soon as we can, we will. Chris Concord would be quicker, you're quite right.
132.075 over Commons Air Portugal 1861. Oscar Kilo, Oscar, contact Lisboa approach 109.1, bye-bye. 109 for Oscar, Oscar, bye-bye. Air Portugal 1664, contact Lisboa approach 109.1, bye-bye. 109.1, Air Portugal 1680.
So land this FlyJSim.
Speedbird 2601, continue climb flight level 380, reach flight level 380 in 2 minutes or less.
What type of navigation are you flying now? VOR? We're INS now. There's no VORs to use at the moment. We are departing, well, you can still have a VOR tuned, which we do, but this DME and HSI is using INS navigation.
Radar services terminated due to surveillance coverage. Report commute with Santa Maria on 132.070.
Trying to check in, guys. So busy this control.
Santa Maria on 132.70, popular commentator. 132.070. 132.070.
Lisboa, Porta Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu. We're climbing flight level 240, inbound Gunti.
Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, Lisboa identified, continue climb to flight level 320.
Climb flight level 320, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
And Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, the frequency for oceanic clearance 127.9.
127.9 of oceanic, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Perfect, so we've got a frequency to tune up to get our oceanic clearance, which we should have done already. Well, 40 minutes prior to oceanic entry, we're 36.5. I don't think they're going to take that too seriously, but that's why you have two first officers, two pilots. One to get it, the other one can listen out as well. I'll tell the controller shortly that we need to go and grab our oceanic clearance. But before we do that, we need to work out our ETA, because what's he wanting to know? He's going to want to know our requested MAC number, which is going to be .74, our crested level 320 and our ETA. Now the ETA is based off your current ground speed, and obviously we're still accelerating as we're going to be maintaining our Mach number. So we're going to be using the operational flight plan. And if they give you a specific time, you must be at your oceanic entry point within 3 minutes either side. Thank you very much, Nordsky. Happy birthday. Welcome aboard as a member. The best birthday present you could possibly ask for. Glad you enjoyed the content. Thank you very much. And hope you get invited. I hope you will get invited to our members only Discord. I hope you enjoy the custom modes in chat. And thank you very much for popping in. Thank you. So, this is where the operational flight plan comes in. Very handily. So if you remember, the airborne time was 16:08. Now we got a whopping great big shortcut, so we're actually going to be ahead of the time here. So what I'm going to quickly do, just before I get my oceanic clearance, is actually work out what time we're going to get there. So I'm filling this out in front of me. What you do, you take it 16:08, and then your ETO, estimated time, you just add the top number each time, and to work out your time over each waypoint. So I'm going to do that now by paper.
Continue as Farley, can you repeat the last bit? So Alpaca 9 Alpha.
Alpaca 9 Alpha, confirm flight level requested.
Confirm flight level requested, Alpaca 9 Alpha.
Tell me the flight level you want to fly at.
That's quite funny.
Sorry, flight level 300, sir, Alpaca 9 Alpha.
Copy.
That's why Pat remembers a learning environment, and he wasn't too sure what the instruction was.
Goodbye.
55 1802 1803 21 31 I missed the electronic flight log we have, which is everything here. I've had to do some maths here. So basically, at Gunty, estimated oceanic entry time on the flight plan is 16:54 Zulu. So if we take our actual time, 32 minutes past 21, that's saying we're going to get there at 52. The flight plan says 54, so that makes sense with the shortcut we got. So we'll tell them we'll approach Gunty at time 52, based off our ETA. So 16:52 at 16:52. Request decimal 74 at flight level 320. So we'll get the oceanic clearance now on frequency 1279. I'll just tell the controller we need to. Radio. Now they don't have HF, so in reality you'd be calling up a HF frequency here, but that's not modelled. They use a VHF frequency essentially to simulate HF. So that frequency was 127.9. Oh yeah, what am I doing this? Should be using my radio tuning pad.
Portugal 1863 Lisboa identified, continue climb flight level 340, confirm flight level requested.
And we'll just tell him that we have to go off frequency here. Oh yeah, I know, Bavaria, what happened to the radio tuning panel? I know. Lisbon Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, just going to grab our oceanic clearance on 127.9.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, Roger, are you able to do that on COM2?
Yeah, I could do that. I'll tip to Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. I'll stay with you for now, thank you.
Thank you very much. And in real life here in Lisbon, the clearance is on VHF. Later on, you will be given the HF frequency.
Roger, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Perfect. So I'll try. Let's see if I can get it to use COM2 on here. How do I get it to transmit? So 1279. Hold on, COM2. How do I push to talk on this frequency? No, that. What I'm going to do is the other way around. So I'm going to monitor him on COM2 because I don't think you can transmit in the FlyJSim on the second frequency here. So I'm going to tune him up on box 2 so I can at least listen, and then I'll switch over to COM1 on the oceanic frequency so I can still hear him. I just need to remember to switch back. Let's see if we can get it here. Shamwick Radio, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu for oceanic clearance.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, go ahead.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu request oceanic clearance, estimating Gunty at time 1652, requesting Mach decimal 74, flight level 320.
Santa Maria copies Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu requesting oceanic clearance, estimating at time 1652, requesting flight level 320, Mach decimal 74. This is your primary frequency, secondary 14850. Confirm your cell call code.
We don't have cell call, and secondary is 14850, primary this frequency 12790, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, Roger, remain on this frequency.
Wilco, and we're still on Lisbon on box 1. Perfect, so now what I need to do is put this over to on standby here, so let me try and work this out here, because we can't use two radios in the FlyJSim 732. I don't think you can. If you can, I don't know how to. So we're currently transmitting, we're talking to this guy on 1279. What I'll do, I'll put 1279 here. So I'm now monitoring him here, and I'm now active on VHF 1 again, Lisboa, because I'm still under his radar control service here. So we're monitoring Oceanic on the simulated HF frequency, and we're now also talking to back to Lisboa here. But we don't need to tell him. We told him we're still on here, box 1. I hope that sort of makes sense. It plainly check frequencies on box 2. So yeah, box 2 I now have 12790 Oceanic monitoring. And then on active 131325, which is hold on, have I lost the guy here? What's that frequency, wasn't it? This is why I hate having these dodgy radio panels. 13135 was Lisboa, wasn't it? I think so. 13135. Touchdown.
Alpaca 36 Mike, radar services terminated due to surveillance coverage. Report commute with Santa Maria.
Hold on, so that guy talking right now is the Oceanic controller 127.90. So I'll make sure that I have this first.
Alpaca 22 Golf Lisbon.
So he said Lisboa, but I'm just looking at that traffic. He's at FlyJSim here. He's actually talking to the
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu Santa Maria.
I now need to go. Hold on. Santa Maria Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Santa Maria has your oceanic clearance with the reroute. Confirm ready to copy.
Ready to copy, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Santa Maria clears Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu to destination Ponta Delgada via Gunti, Lenci, Sierra Mike 452. From Gunti, maintain flight level 320, Mach decimal 74.
I can just read back the point after Gunti and Lenci, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Sierra Mike 452.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu cleared to Ponta Delgada after Gunti, direct to Lenci, then to Sierra Mike 452. Flight level 320, Mach decimal 74, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, read back correct. New primary frequency 132070.
Primary frequency 132070, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, read back correct. Return to domestic.
Will do, and to later, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, bye. Perfect. I can hopefully that domestic frequency.
Santa Maria Azores 15. Flight level 360.
Monitor. Right, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to try and load this into the INS. So, Gunti and then Lenci. Then after Lenci, he wants me to route direct to Sierra Mike 452, which I should be able to load into the INS. Right, hold on. I'm just going to detune now. So I'm just going to go with Lisboa here, just to tell him we have our oceanic clearance. At Lisboa, Centre Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, we have received our oceanic clearance.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, roger.
Perfect. There we are. So, what's that playing? Again, check monitored Lisboa frequency on box 2. Well, now I've got it. I think we had it all okay though, but now I'm talking now to Lisboa Centre 131325, monitoring. Well, I've just detuned it because I don't want to be distracted. But this was the oceanic clearance. How was that, Mike? Is Pilot Mike still here? I've got to work out in the INS how to reprogram this now. So, we're fine until we get all the way to Lency. Oh, I'm going too fast now. Fine until we get to Lency, but after Lency, we're not going to Bavaz anymore. We're going direct to SM Sierra Mike 452. Which I think is part of the arrival.
November 20143, roger, continue contact level 360.
This waypoint here.
Alright, up to 360,
Abigail 1863, continue contact level 380.
Sierra Mike 452. Oh my goodness me, it's a point to the west of Ponta Delgada. That's very unusual. Why has he sent me over there?
Abigail 1863, Lisbon.
Amy, you might have to roll your Mach hold speed a tiny bit. Yeah, well, unfortunately, the FlyJSim doesn't have a Mach hold feature, only indicated airspeed. But yeah, because we converted over, I need to bring the speed back a little bit here. Decimal 74. So, oceanic entry point, 20 minutes away. We've already got oceanic clearance. Oh, Chris was good. I think you called Santa Maria Oceanic. Did I say Oceanic? Oops. Ooh, we seem to have levelled off 200 feet too low. Let's just add a bit of thrust here, just to help her out a little bit there. Yeah, nothing to hear there. Honestly, this is me working very hard. I have no experience with oceanic procedures. I've never flown on an oceanic airway in my 12-year career. I have guidance on it. I've been reading up on it. It's been very educational for myself. But overall, I think I'm doing it okay. I have no FMS. What I should have done in hindsight with this oceanic clearance is actually say, you know what, I don't want to route this dodgy RNAV waypoint after Lesney. So let me just show you. I'll fire up Navigraph and load up the sim. Let me just get Navigraph open here, guys, so I can show you where he's cleared me to. This is our cruising altitude today. No, I need to slow down though. Yeah, this is where the workload again increases highly because you've got to monitor your speed. So decimal 74 to keep an eye on that speed today. Yeah, this is about as high as we can go a little higher. The optimum altitude is a bit above us, look, 333, but I just wanted to play it safe and go on the lower side.
Portuguese 1863, Lisbon. November 20143, Lisbon.
Yeah, brilliant.
0143 when ready. Santa Maria Oceanic Control.
Yeah, to be fair, I should have done my first oceanic sector like this in the NG. It would have made my life a lot easier. Choosing to fly this aircraft has made it far more difficult.
Frequency 127.9.
Right, let's make sure that speed gets back to decimal 74. So how are we doing for our original oceanic entry time? 16:52. Well, we're at 18 minutes to go, pretty much. And the time now is 33. So that's 50. It's 51. I'm 1 minute off my oceanic entry time. That's acceptable. That extra little bit of speed I've been flying is going to help me. Pardon me, across the pond was oceanic though, but to be fair, they did kind of simulated CPDLC, so it was all via text web browser. So what you had to do was tell them what it is. We're doing it via voice, old school radio panel, and an aircraft with no auto throttle. FMS is making my life 10 times more difficult. Right, there's 7.4, so I'm just going to add that thrust a little bit here. Right, so I've got Navigraph up and open now. So this is where we are. Remember, we were given that lovely shortcut to route direct to Gunty, which is all working correctly. We're cleared to go direct via Gunty to Lensi, but after Lensi, we're then told to route direct to this waypoint, Sierra Mike 452, which is very random. It's just here. It's an RNAV waypoint in the middle of nowhere. Why he doesn't want me to go via Babas and then on the start, I don't know. Sierra Mike 452 is one of the RNAV waypoints, I think, for the reciprocal runway. Runway 12, and the wind is favouring that runway. So the problem is, all those approaches are RNAV, and based off the weather conditions, I need to take the ILS on and a tailwind, otherwise I'm not going to get in. So I think he's just trying to help by routing me direct to an RNAV waypoint for perhaps the runway I used today. Now, the cloud base in Ponta Delgada is scattered at 300. I can't fly RNAV approaches in this. There is an NDB approach, I believe, for runway 12. No, they're all RNAV approaches to 12, so I'd have to actually fly a circle to land. The cloud base for a circle to land is 600 feet, and it's scattered at 300, so not the best idea. So with this wind, it's a 7 knot tailwind onto runway 30, and actually request an ILS straight in, but the wind is forecast to swing around a little bit. Otherwise, we can't get in based off the cloud base. Pilot Mike, yeah, I might call back the Oceanic controller and request a rerouting myself. I can load that waypoint in. If you look here, Sierra Mike 452, I've got the coordinates, so I could punch that into the INS, and actually after Lensi, reprogram that waypoint as Sierra Mike, whatever it was, 452. But in hindsight, I should have actually just gone, yeah, request standard routing, please, not RNAV. But on the flight plan, I think our basic RNAV capable. But we'll carry on as we are for now, and then I'll request a rerouting. Divert to Shenzhen. Potentially. Oh, as soon as we enter oceanic airspace, guys, which is in 15 minutes, we'll calculate the equal time points, both as a distance and a time. That's the point at which we'd be confident to return back to Lisbon and land with X amount of fuel. In this case, we'll say we want to divert back to Lisbon, land there with a 30 minutes on top of our reserve, final reserves.
Issue 141 back with you.
Crab Maniac, you'll need to convert the coordinates. Yeah, pretty easy though. You can either just times it by 60. So this is 3 seconds, so that would be 7.0. And that is 35.2, so that would be 0.6. But yeah, you would need to convert them. Not difficult. RGGSH, is the stream good? It's the best stream I've ever seen. But I'd be biased. Right, just making some adjustments to the thrust there. Yeah, annoyingly, flying an aircraft like this, when you get a direct, it's very hard to calculate when you're abeam these waypoints, because they're not based off nav aids. If I had a VOR, I'd be fine. I could tune it up when I'm at 90 degrees. I know I'm abeam. I can do a fuel check. So a fuel check I can really... The first accurate fuel check I can do is at the oceanic entry point, Gunty. So we can do a time check, fuel check, check the fuel burn as well there. But it should all be pretty close to forecast here. Dreamless, how do you set thrust precisely on takeoff without a toga button? Well, more like without an auto throttle. I've flown the NG without an auto throttle. You have a calculated N1, or in this case EPR. You just simply set it manually until you have a desired thrust setting. That's it. Yes. How exciting. Not only the ocean below us. Perfect. So the frequency, remember, is 127.9. I've just detuned it just to avoid the excessive noise clutter. You found respect for pilots back in the 60s and 70s, but yeah, these guys did it day in, day out, far more confident. I'm unfamiliar with these systems, remember. I don't know how they work. I'm just using it based on my loose IR knowledge and stuff. The INS has a lot more capability than I'm aware of, I think. I know how to update waypoints, etc. But yeah, without VORs, you're going to really rely on this system. So we've just lost the VOR signal. So that's why it's gone to DME 260 based on the VOR, but remember the INS is giving us all the distance and course information. We're tracking it very accurately, so you just want to fly left a bit there. Chris Curtin, Mr. 737, sir. I can read out the footy scores to save me hearing to switch windows. Save me having to switch windows. Unbelievable, Chris. Request denied. Perfect.
Santa Porta Tango, decision to flight level 100.
Just a little nice external view. So there's the HF antenna. It's literally a wire between the vertical stabilizer and the fuselage. Looking good. So ETA, guys, based off the flight plan, is 1831 Zulu. It's an hour 50 from now. Yeah, and hopefully, touch with the weather improves a little bit. Right now, it's scattered at 300, 8,000 metres. It's actually a little worse than forecast. Alternates are okay. Santa Maria has ILS, 3,000 metres they have there. Broken at 2,000. So Santa Maria, our planned alternate's fine. Our other alternates for North, Lajes, Azores, is clear, scattered at 3,500. So the alternates are fine, and we've got an extra 30 minutes of fuel. As we mentioned, in a place like this, where it's quite remote, is looking unfavourable. You can actually contact operations and say, look, I'm going to Ponta Delgada.
It's been very good afternoon again. It's Alpine 1
weather's not that great there, you know, what would you like me to do if I can't get in? And they might actually want you, if you can, take round trip fuel please to get back to Lisbon, because for whatever operational reason they prefer that option. So again, that's a decision. We have the ultimate decision obviously as the commander in flight, but you liaise with operations, see what you can do. And I know for a fact that airports like this, if the weather is approaching limits, you can take alternate fuel for your original destination, as long as you're below max takeoff weight and landing weight.
Runway 5, just confirm the SID. It's the Porto Santo 6 November, up to 6,000 and squawking 2735.
Controller stepped on me and hadn't finished talking. That's a common mistake. Is this aircraft Cat 3 capable? No. Whether the real 200 had at least the ability to land Cat 2, I don't know. I don't think so. Dreamless, those turbojet or turbofan engines, they're turbojet. There's no bypass.
Alpine 1-5, Bravo Zulu, go ahead.
Chill out, my bot.
Yep, okay, so Porto Santo 6 November.
Is it low bypass turbojet? Possibly. I don't think there's any bypass. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, you know what? I think you might be right though. I think there is a small amount that bypasses the core. But yeah, I forget if it is any, it's very small. Wikipedia will be the answer to that one.
Santa Maria on 132.075. Bye-bye.
Radar service terminated. Contact Santa Maria 132075. Thanks to the ATC. I'll back at 89 Alpha Zulu. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
So 132075 primary. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, we squawk 2000 30 minutes after Oceanic entry. Oh, why am I not using my lovely radio tuning panel? Santa Marina, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, go ahead.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, inbound to waypoint Gunty, estimate still 53, Mach decimal 74, flight level 320. We already have our oceanic clearance. I have no idea what I should do now, actually.
Report for Gunty.
Okay. That's the point, Mike. I'm not 100% sure on this one, and this is why.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, report Gunty.
Wilco Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, report Gunty. That's the point. When you get transferred from the domestic sector back to oceanic after having your clearance, do you just check in normally? I actually 100% not sure on that one. I should have only contacted a Gunty for the position report. Thanks, Andrew. Andre, I guess you've got some experience with this because you came in earlier. It'd be great if you did know there, but it's why it's so embarrassing. I've got no experience of oceanic procedures. Now, I operator do fly the Tango routes, and basically when we get our oceanic training, we have to do at least one sector, or two sectors, sorry, there and back, with an oceanic qualified training captain. But we don't actually fly from my base any of those oceanic sectors, so I've not ever had that in the last 12 years, any chance to do it. David, now you're oceanic, do you have frequency spec? Yeah, so you 1215 and 12345 you can use to communicate with other pilots, but you're quite right.
Okay, 0727 and standby frequency 132 decimal 150.
JT8D low bypass turbofan 0.96 to 1. Well, there you go, it's got a tiny amount of bypass. The CFM's like 5 to 1, is a huge difference. In real life, the guy giving you clearance and the oceanic radio controller are different people. The radio controller won't have spoken to you before. I think I remember this, Pilot Mike. So when you get your clearance, that is actually just a radio operator. He isn't actually got any qualifications. I remember reading something about that. And then the actual controller you speak to is a different person. Steve Mayer, did you find out how to use the transponder with the radio panel yet? It's not so much knowing how to use it, Steve, it just doesn't work. If I go over here to transponder, 4767 it's showing on my radio tuning panel. If I turn it, it just goes 6, 7, and just you can only do it in digits of 60, look, and on the left side it just rotates the other way. But I can't move any of these numbers here. I think you have to use the top button transponder to move the top 2 digits, and the bottom one to move the last 2 digits, which is just, yeah, a bit archaic. So yeah, now I've set the completely incorrect squawk, but 4767. Yeah, now it's not working at all. So yeah, it's far easier for when it comes to setting the squawk, just doing it by this radio tuning panel. Perfect. Yeah, look at the speed creeping up. Miss having an auto throttle. That's difficult. You can use the transfer button to change from last digit to first digits. That's just a pain. Just to set a transponder code 4 digits. What's useful is having the com 1, com 2, just to be able to do that quickly. Right, how are we looking for our ETA then? We can do a fuel check at Gunty, 3 minutes to go. So we're going to be there 51. So 3 minutes early on the flight plan. We'll do a fuel check as well. Looking very good. It's quite busy on this sector. So we're going to keep a close eye on that speed again, make sure it doesn't get too low. Perfect. So, for our position report then, we have to tell him what let's get our operational flight plan here. So I'm going to fill this up in front of me. So Gunty, we're going to be there at 51. I'll do a quick fuel check as well. 2 minutes away, so we'll do it right over the top, and then we're going to be going to Lency. So Lency is going to be another 35 minutes away. So being there at 51, we're going to be there at 28, 26.
30,
726.
10.
Shall tell him. Thank you very much, Captain Roger.
I say
Bus
chap
fault.
executed a particularly spectacular takeoff today, held 50 feet until the end of the runway, then pulled up to 60 degrees. Passengers weren't happy, but the lady controller was so impressed she gave me a number to call. I've called.
Well, Captain Roger Busfault, thanks for the £5. Sounds like you've had a very exciting day today. Thank you very much for your donation. And congratulations pulling the air traffic controller. I think the fact that you've been given a number might be for a slightly different reason, but brilliant, brilliant kind regardless. Thank you very much, Captain Roger Busfault, for your donation. Very, very kind. Right, so Lenzy, 35 minutes on top of actual time over the top here, which is going to be 51. So that's going to be 26. And then it's going to be not Bavas. Waypoint next was the one we were cleared onto, but I'm going to request a reroute to our new waypoint. What on earth was that waypoint called? Sierra Mike 452. Is it hard to fly to 200? You know, it makes your workload a million times higher. Perfect. Just one more thing before I do the oceanic report. Where is the fuel calculator? Because I just want to get the equation for the equal time point, which we need to be calculating very shortly. We'll do the position report first. Just wait for this guy to finish his transmission. I think he's done. Santa Maria Radio, Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu for position report.
Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, go ahead.
Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, overhead Gunty at time 1652 Zulu. Mag decimal 74, flight level 320. Next waypoint, Lenzy, estimating 1726, and then Sierra Mike 452 next.
Maria copies Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, position mode in time 1652, flight level 320, Nancy, time 1726, Sierra Mike 452. Okay?
Read back correct, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. So I think I might got it. I think I got it in a slight wrong order. That's my first ever oceanic position report. Right at the so we're now in oceanic airspace in Santa Maria Oceanic area, and in reality there'd be no radar coverage here. Now I think it's a little bit unique in this sector to Ponta Delgada. If you don't have HF or fans or future navigation systems, you can actually fly this domestically, but you've got to descend to below oceanic airspace, which I think is 20. Mike, you might be able to know. I think it's 28,000 feet. I know that you can do this sector in non-oceanic airspace, though. So yeah, that's it. We're now in oceanic. We're now inbound to our next waypoint, which is Lency. We just need to do a quick fuel check, remember, at Gunty here. So let's have a look here. Where's my calculator? Pounds. I'd say that's £7,500 a side, I'd say. Divided by 2.2, so £15,000, so 6.8 tons. How many what it is? Yeah, 6863. Let's call that 6.8 for the fuel check. Be a bit conservative. So 6.8 at Gunty. And remember, our block fuel was 9.4. So 9.4. There we are. So we had 9,400 kilos at the start. We've got 6,800 kilos now. It means we burned 2,600. So let's do the fuel check then. Gunty, we arrived here at time 5:2. Estimated to have been here at 5:4 based off the flight plan, so 2 minutes early. That was with the shortcut on the SID. We've got 6.8 tons of fuel. So that's 1,400 extra. Remember, we took 1,200, so that's good. And we've burnt 2.6 tons. We should have burnt 2,700. So everything's looking into okay. Time check, fuel check, everything's looking all legal then. Perfect. Mike. Yeah, RVSM airspace levels basically. So yeah, below. So when you're not in RVSM, you're no longer oceanic. You get it. Right. So let's now. Oh, this is educational and hard work, but very enjoyable. Let's now try and calculate an equal time point. Okay. Now, when you're flying over large, when you're flying large bodies of water like this, you need to work out at what point it would be no longer feasible to return to your point of departure. So in this case, Lisbon. So let's imagine, for whatever reason. Santa Maria told us, okay, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, we just got a report at Ponta Delgada that there's a runway is closed because Lama International Airlines has belly landed on the runway and blocked it. Okay, runway is closed. So, okay, right. So, are we going to carry on flying to this remote island airport with only 2 possible alternates, or am I going to return to my point of departure? Now, I don't know much about the actual calculation. I was talking to Pilot Mike about it a bit yesterday. Thankfully, modern flight planning equipment, it calculates all this for you. It calculates equal time point based on you having an engine failure, based on you having to descend to 10,000 feet, and you have different points there as well. Now, if I bring up our flight planner, so what also complicates things is an aircraft like this, also like with my operator, we don't have any ETOPS certified 737, so we've got to make sure on this sector that we're within 1 hour's single engine flight time away from a suitable alternate. Additionally, because we're over a body of water, that's reduced to 400 nautical miles if you don't have a life raft on board. Now, with this sector, we're just about within an hour both sides of Lisbon and Ponta Delgada, but there is a small sector here where we're not. However, we have here down to the south, I forgot what it's called now, Porto Santo, which is just north of Funchal, which has 2 runway with 2 non-precision approaches. So that is an also, that allows us to essentially, if we're in the 7-3, we'll draw fixed rings around these points, make sure that they all intersect, our route doesn't go outside of it, and that's very important to ensure that's the case. Now, unrelated to that is the equal, well, I say related, also we need to calculate the equal time point, not just to get back to Lisbon, but also potentially divert to an en route alternate. Now, I'm just going to do the simple equation today to work out at what point along our sector would we need to, what would be the equidistant point between Lisbon and Ponta Delgada, at which we'd actually return here. And we need to take into account the wind as well. So if you have a very strong headwind, you have to fly more into that wind to allow you to get back sooner. If we have a very strong tailwind taking us in this direction, we've got to be careful, because if you are more than the halfway point and you turn around, you've got to fly in that tailwind. And this equation we're going to look at will cater for all of this here. It's this is the same equation we used in our ATPL theories. It's very basic, but it works. It gives you the figure, and actually we calculate this if we're flying over a body of water here. So how this calculation covers the time to point of no return. We'll also give you the equation today to work out the distance as well. So we need to get the figures to punch this all. Okay. So E equals safe endurance. Now this is for the equation. We need to work out in decimal hours how much fuel it would require to return to our destination. Return to our departure point with a sort of minimum. Safe, appropriate minimum overhead fuel amount, or minimum safe amount here. And for this, we're going to assume that if we'd like to return to Lisbon, we'd actually arrive in Lisbon with our final reserve plus 30 minutes. Okay, just to keep the equation nice and simple, or we'll work out what that is there. So let's go to the flight plan briefly. So our final reserves are on the second page here. 1,134 kilos, so that's 30 minutes of flight time. I don't want to return to Lisbon at the equal time point and arrive with this figure here. I want to have a little bit on top of that. Now, if the weather was bad in Lisbon, you'd also take that into account. You might not actually want to go back to Lisbon. You might want to have to go to Porto or Faro as examples because the weather's better there or whatever reason. So what we'll take the 30 minutes plus 30 minutes on top of that. So we'll take half of the fuel flow amount as well. And that will be the figure, the minimum safe fuel we'd like to arrive with in Lisbon. So we'll take half the average fuel flow, which is 2384 divided by 2, so that's 1192 plus FinRes 1134, and that gives us a figure of 2,326 kilos. So this calculation will assume once we've finished it, when we reach our equal time point, we can return to Lisbon with 2,326 kilos of fuel remaining. So that's final reserve plus 30 minutes. So we'll make a note of that figure. 2326 is the amount of fuel. Now, we need to work out our endurance, our safe endurance as per the equation. So what we're going to do is take our block fuel we had for departure, which was, remember, 9.4. We took that additional fuel here. Just make a 2326 here. 9.4.
Santa Maria, go ahead.
Okay. We then subtract the taxi because we need our airborne fuel. So 9.4 minus 191, which is here. 9209 minus that reserve fuel figure we mentioned, 2326. Okay. So hold on. So it's 9.4 minus taxi 191 minus our final reserve fuel 2326, and that gives us 6 hours. Are you still with me, guys? It would be easier if I had paint open or something. So our equation here, 6,883 is our total amount of fuel we need or burn until we're down to our final reserve. We just divide that into our fuel flow, so 6,883 divided by 2,384. So our endurance, our safe endurance, is 2.88 hours, okay, which we need for this equation. So again, E equals safe endurance, so we can burn for 2.88 hours of fuel after our equal time point until we're down to our final reserve plus 30 minutes. And we'll use that in the equation, so 2.88. Now, we'll call it 2.9 just to make it easier. Now, H... Something listen. H is for is known as your ground speed home. So this is the ground speed required to return to your departure point here. So what we need to do is work out what that is. So we'll go back into the operational flight plan here, and we need to work out our true airspeed initially, and then using our average ground speed work this out. Again, the flight plan will work this all out for you. So if you look here, you can see our true airspeed on the flight plan is 427 knots. There's probably an easier way of working this out. 427. And if you look here, we'll use the average wing component. So a minus figure is telling you've got a headwind component. So your true airspeed minus 18 knots is your average speed for the sector, as it were. So what we need to do to work out ground speed home is take that equation, 427 knots.
I don't see you 5 now. Go ahead with your position report.
427 knots, and as we want to work out our ground speed home for that equation, it'll be a quicker ground speed, so we need to actually add the 13 knots, because if you see that the wind's coming in from the west to go back to Lisbon, if we're going eastbound, that wind will be pushing us. So the average wind component is minus 18. So to go home, we'd add 427 plus the 18 knots, so I'll be a ground speed of 445 knots. Alright, still with me. It's very difficult without me writing this down. So we're happy that the ground speed home is 445 knots. Conversely, for the equation, we need to know our ground speed outbound, or ground speed out. And again, that's going to be the true airspeed, 427. We've got an 18 knot tailwind. So 427 minus the 18 knot tailwind is a ground speed outbound of 409 knots. And these figures we now punch into the equation. Okay, now me explaining this is very confusing without having a whiteboard or anything like this. So we'll put all these figures that we calculated into the equation now. So remember, endurance was 2.9 hours times ground speed home, which is 445. And we then divide that by the sum of ground speed home, ground speed home, which is 445, plus ground speed outbound, which is 409. And that comes out as 1.54 on your calculator. Okay, 1.54 is the time. Now, 1.54 is a decimal time. If you want to find the minutes, very simple, just times it by 60. 1.54 is 92 minutes, okay? And what that time is, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're still with me, I think probably Mike fell asleep. 92 minutes along our sector is our equal time point. So that's to say, after 92 minutes being airborne, we need to decide to either continue to our point of arrival, which is Ponta Delgada, or return to Lisbon. And just prior to reaching that equal time point, it'll be prudent to get the weather at your destination, get an information report. Is the runway still open? Whatever it is, whatever it takes there. So that's it. That's an equal time point calculation regarding time. The distance is going to be roughly the same point. The equation's exactly the same. The only thing is, on the top of the equation here, you additionally multiply the outbound ground speed as well. So E times H times O, then divide that by H plus O, and that'll calculate the distance, which will be around the same as the time emitted. So now that we've calculated it is 92.7 minutes, we'll call it 92 minutes. We know we're airborne at 16:08, so we know that time-wise, at 92 minutes, it's going to be 1740, okay? 1740 Zulu. Which is in 35 minutes, is our equal time point. After that point, we have to decide, well, just before 1740, say at 1735, we have to decide whether we're going to carry on to our arrival airport, Ponta Delgada, or return to Lisbon. And if we do decide to return to Lisbon at the ETP, we'll arrive there with our final reserve plus 30 minutes. I think I've probably thrown everyone here, but it's very difficult to explain without. But yeah, what I should have done is perhaps got paint out and plug the figures into the equation. But there's some great internet videos on the internet out there how to do that. There. Pilot Mike, now you have to mark your point of no return as a waypoint on the chart. There we go. I don't have my paper chart here. But yeah, I've not actually looked at that. Yeah, tell you what, guys. What I'll do, I'll show you my working out via Instagram. That would be the best way. I did actually write all this down. There we go. So what I'll do, I'll post it on Instagram. Hopefully I've calculated it all correctly, and then it's far easier than if you've seen the equation with all the numbers I gave. Now I think I've done it right. Anyway, the beauty of it is you have to learn this at ATPL level when you take your exams. Have I ever applied that actual equation in real life? No, never have done. Would I do it? Yes, I do this basic equal time point, so I know that 92 minutes into the flight, I'd have to return to Lisbon. But overall, the flight plan actually, it puts these rings on there for you anyway. So, could you repeat that, please? I didn't catch any of it. Anyway, I had to review all this yesterday to catch up. Loads there. Anyway, I'll put it on Instagram, the calculation, because I worked it all out, put all the numbers in here ahead. There we are, ETP calculation. It'll be on my story for 24 hours. There you go. It'd be far easier to see that there and go and understand all the messages that way. Anyway. Group Jones, are they required calculations? Yes, it'd be foolhardy not to apply that calculation to work out, especially when we're flying right over the middle of the Atlantic here, so you've got to work out at what point, oh no, there's a problem here in Ponta Delgada, and the alternates. Generally, if there's low visibility at one airport, it's the case at all the airports there, so here you want to be quite confident that you can come back. Actually, one of the things that you can consider, as we mentioned at the start of the stream, if it is forecast to be bad, really bad, they might cancel the flight. If not, they'll actually get you to take enough fuel to fly one approach and get back to your your original destination point as well. So that actually takes the pressure off regarding equal time points a little bit. And if that was the case, they'd actually make it an alternate on the flight plan. So you go here to the where's my chart operation flight plan? Here we go. So that actually, literally, it would say here alternate Lisbon, and it would be like 6 tons of fuel, and it would actually fall into part of your minimum block fuel requirements, pushing back there. But you've got to be careful with that, because it can put you close to your maximum structural weight, such as takeoff weight, landing weight there. Can you put it in Discord? Yes, I'll put it in Discord. Mike, can you vet the calculation? Let me see if I've done it correctly. I'll put it in the live stream channel. There we go.
Azores 153 Santa Maria.
Pete White, FlyJSim, we passed equal time point about 10 minutes ago. Oh well, onwards to Ponta Delgada. Equal time point will be at 1740. There we are. We actually calculated it practically in a sim. Now obviously I took additional fuel. Had I not taken additional fuel, you'll notice if I bring up Navigraph here, that equal time point is actually going to be around here. It's actually quite far along the route. That's because we took that additional fuel, remember. Had we taken standard block fuel, it would have been a little bit closer to the midpoint. But obviously if there's a stronger headwind, you have to fly a little bit longer into the flight, past the actual physical halfway point. And if there's a strong tailwind from Lisbon, you'd actually be turning around sooner than the halfway point. Pilot Mike, I can check for you if I get the fuel figures and speeds again. I should, on the little piece of paper, have all the figures there. So the fuel endurance was 2.9, and in brackets the ground speed home was 445 and out was 409. So all the figures for the equation, I did put in the picture. Gwen, thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. I'm Welsh, and usually people call me some weird names. That's what I do know. Perfect. But yeah, it was really good fun preparing for this stream, because we do fly these Tango airways, so I had the guidance on how to apply it. Yes, the aircraft we're in here is different, but some of the procedures are being well replicated here on that sim. Perfect. Now, the next thing, which is going to be a factor, is the routing. At the moment, we are inbound to Lenzi. Okay, waypoint number 5 in the INS. You can see it says 4 to 5. And after that, we're programmed to go to Bavas. Now, we were given a rerouting after Lenzi, direct to Sierra Mike 452. Now, I can do that. I can program that in the INS, but the thing is, the waypoint that he's routing me direct to is to a runway which I cannot accept a landing. I cannot accept an RNAV approach in this aircraft. Also, the weather conditions scatter the 300. I want to fly the ILS, ideally, onto the other runway. I can accept a tailwind up to 10 knots. At the moment, I'm getting the latest METAR here for Ponta Delgada. It's 190 at 9, so it's pretty much a Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, go ahead.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, revise route clearance after Lenzi, proceed chuva, X-ray, uniform, Victor, Alpha, Papa.
Okay. After waypoint Lenzi, route direct to Echo Uniform Victor Alpha Papa, confirm.
Negative, X-ray, uniform, Victor Alpha Papa, Juvap.
After waypoint Lenzi direct to Juvap, X-ray Uniform Victor Alpha Papa, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu.
Correct, Santa Maria.
Perfect. Oh, look at Bernardo. Are you actually here on the frequency? Give me the coordinates. North 37, 35, 4, west 025, 130. Well, let's see where that waypoint is first.
Ryanair 14 Papa Charlie,
Just
Santa Maria.
realise how lucky you are to have an FMS.
Ryanair 14
Ah,
Papa
that's
Charlie,
better.
Foca
That's
07,
better.
standby,
Right.
So,
So.
Santa Maria 132.150.
That's the other runway. Let's have a look here. That's going to make my life much easier because I don't have to fly the procedural approach.
07.
So now I need to try and work out how to reprogram this into the INS. So Ponta Delgada, what's the code? Lima Papa Papa Delta. So I think that's on the other arrival. We've got 10 minutes to get this in here anyway. So at the moment I've got iPads everywhere, work iPads, personal iPads, phones. Bernardo, I was the Lima Papa Charlie Control. I'm now the Ponta Delgada approach. Thank you, Bernardo, for the ATC and for assisting me in chat. Really appreciate it. Right, let's have a look at these arrivals. Ah, found it. X-ray uniform Victor Alpha Papa. It's for arrival. So we're actually getting a shortcut, but we're routing direct to this waypoint here, X-ray uniform Victor Alpha Papa. I found it here, so the coordinates you actually gave me 37. I'll show you here, look. So that'll be 37, 35, 21 minutes, that's around 0.4. West 025, 13, 1 minutes, that's 0.0. So we'll put those coordinates in. Now, here's my next question for any INS experts. If you remember rightly, after waypoint number 6, which you're currently routing inbound to, waypoint number 6 is... Oh no, we're not, hold on. Sorry, we're routing inbound to waypoint number 5, okay. Waypoint number 5 is Lency. Waypoint number 6 is Bavas. We're no longer routing towards waypoint number 6 Bavas after Lency. I want to route direct to Juvap. If I replace the coordinates from waypoint number 6, which are programmed here, is that acceptable, or do I need to load up waypoint number 7? Otherwise it could confuse the system. Or do I waypoint number 8 and then just route direct to waypoint number 8 afterwards? I could go 0 direct to waypoint number 8 afterwards. That would probably be the best way of doing it. Maths for the PNR checks out, but you forgot the engine out PNR too. Yes, I've just done the very basic pilot mic calculation, not respecting the fact that we have to drift down or anything like that. But you're quite right. What comes into that calculation is factors such as that. Now, I certainly know the 7.3, the drift down from, say, 34,000 feet to 25, 24, whatever the gross weight is very smooth. The single engine fuel consumption is excellent as well. So I've got a funny feeling, because I'm looking at my operator's guidance, they just give us that one calculation. They don't actually give us any other calculations, but I'm pretty confident if I was to look at a flight plan for this sort of sector, they'd actually give you the ETPs for these different situations. Oh, you winded me up anyway. Liam, position 7 and direct. I think what Andy suggested, position 8, whichever you're not used yet, much cleaner than replacing. I think that would be the best thing. I'll program waypoint number 8, and then as soon as we're approaching waypoint number 5, I'll just route direct to number 8, and that'll be the cleanest way of doing it, and that'll hopefully get rid of all the other points here. So, to make sure I don't make any mistakes here, let's bring up Navigraph. Here's our frequency here. Bernardo, thank you so much for converting it from minutes to decimal points. It's very helpful. Now, wait, the speed breaks in the way. So waypoint 8, it is north 37, 35, 4. North 37, 35, 4. Insert. And then it's going to be west 025. 13 0 025 13 0 insert. Perfect. Now, waypoint number 8 is now programmed as Juvap. Very important. In 7 minutes' time, we route from waypoint number 5 direct to waypoint number 8, and that should have completely Oh, sorry, you couldn't see the nav. That should hopefully work. Whether you get away with doing that on your line check in the 200, I don't know, but it works. Sebastian Roden, ETA. ETA is 1831 Zulu. 18310 Zulu, which I've calculated off the flight plan.
Go ahead.
What would be a really cool thing if SimBrief could update this, or have it implemented into Avitab, is the ability to fill these in. Now all it needs to know is your takeoff time. If you put your takeoff time in here, it should be able to calculate all of the waypoint ETAs and your arrival ETA as well. That's exactly how our EFL works at work. You simply put your airborne time and then you fill in the fuel as you go along the sector. Works really well. Map is in the way. Oh, was that when I was programming the waypoints? Sorry. Right, any questions? Have I lost anyone yet? I hope you've all found it quite interesting, at least. My rusty oceanic procedural knowledge. Well, I say rusty, I've never used it. But it's very rewarding flying this aircraft in these sort of, you know, with no FMS, no navigational database. It makes it very, very rewarding to get there. Cool. Well, Juvap is on the extended centre line for runway 30, so that's pretty cool. Can someone just grab the latest METAR for Ponta Delgada? Let's have a look at the weather as well. Jonathan Daniel, I guarantee the captain won't respond.
Santa Maria.
Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, go ahead.
Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu, squawk 0775, monitor Santa Maria 132.150.
Squawk 0775 and we'll monitor Santa Maria, that frequency 132.075, Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu.
132.150.
132.150, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Cheerio. Workload is so high. I want my Zemo mod back. 0775 and monitor frequency 132.15. There we are. She said monitor. Thanks guys for grabbing the METAR. So runway, oh no, that's the flight plan. So 1909er, so it's a crosswind, 10k, few showers, some scattered cloud at 200. That'll be right on my street. As soon as we get to minimums, that scattered cloud's right there. Otherwise, broken at 700, broken 1800, 16 degrees 1024. So what's controlling for an approach pan on an ILS is an RVR. So 10k, the RVR required for this approach. The ILS here is a little higher than standard, it's 1,000 meters, so we can fly the approach. Hopefully that cloud, the scattered cloud, won't be right at minimums. We've got plenty of fuel for at least a couple of approaches. If not, we did at the planning stage check the alternates. The alternates are fine. Santa Maria now has an ILS, a few clouds at 700, and Lajes, Azores, the military civil airport, is clear as well. So alternates are fine. We haven't got enough fuel to get back to Lisbon after 1740 Zulu. So it's 1722, so 20 minutes until the equal time point. Jojo, here's the rest of the comment count. What cutoff switches do you prefer, old or new ones found on the Max and NGS? Have they been retrofitted? So all the older NGs that don't have the newer start levers have not been retrofitted, they're still the same. Do I have a preference? Doesn't really. Not really, doesn't. I don't mind what start levers we have. Yeah, my equal time point calculation, I wish I'd actually probably fired up paint to describe it there. Very good. One stop of descent as well, that's the next thing we need to calculate. Well, we need to wait, let's wait until we're actually routing bound to said waypoint. Juvap. can't believe it's not been requested. Do a little cabin tour. But what a way to fly it. It's very rewarding flying like this. No FMS. Oh, no VNAV, just leave it plugged in. You know, you've got to actually do some work and fly one of these aircraft. Here's Alpaca First Class. We still have the Hawaiian livery style. Very quiet for 200. Yeah, stick your head out the window. Captain, how do you jettison fuel? Says Toshko. The 737 series don't have any function to jettison fuel, so if you have to land in an emergency, it is acceptable to land above the maximum landing weight in this aircraft. I detailed the cabin in the FlyJSim. Got these stickers on here.
Charlie, Santa Maria 127.9.
127.9.
No model toilet, it would seem. Very good. Jonathan Daniel, FlyJSim is flying planes in the real world. Yeah, this is so easy. Real world pilots and FlyJSims. What does this button do? Pretty much. Fono Wangatang, how do you move around the aircraft using the keypads? Left arrows, keypad arrows, up, down, left, right, and the full stop and comma to move backwards and left, and then you can assign different buttons to different preset views. X-Plane 11's view system's far better than Microsoft Flight Simulators. Right, ooh, hold on, not concentrating. Right, we need to now route direct to our new waypoint at waypoint change 08. That looks good. I think the fact it's making a left turn by around 20 degrees makes sense. Wicked. And we just need to do a quick fuel check. Overhead Lency. So Lency, the ETA was on the flight plan 1729. Ooh, speed's getting a bit low now as well. 1729, current time is 26, so 3 minutes early, as per the flight plan. But remember, we updated our ETA. We should have 4.2 tons on board. We've got 6,000 either side here, so around 6,100 pounds of fuel either side. So 6,100 times 2, 12,200 divided by 2.2, 5.6 tons of fuel at, hold on, that's not right. 6,100 times 2 divided by 2.2. Oh, Lency, I was looking at the wrong waypoint, that's why. Lency, yeah, we've got 5.5 tons, we should have 4.2, so we're up to 1,300 kilos. We started off with 9,400 kilos. With what we have left in our tanks, we should have burned 3,854. This is 4 tons, so we've saved about 100 kilos. The fuel burns spot on for the 200 in the flight plan. Very nice. Perfect. What time are you expecting? Lency, just right over the top of it. 36 minutes look until we get to Zuvap. James said, can you turn off left and right recirc fan during the flight to make the air in the cabin better and sound quieter? So there's a common misbelief along some people, not pilots it is, that recirculation fan, it is recirculating the air, but it is still replacing plenty of fresh air, so it doesn't make any difference really on the air quality. It does make it quieter, but again, we won't turn them off unless instructed by a non-normal checklist to do so. Very cool. Ben Spouse, do we have enough fuel to bump it up a bit? We do, but we're under a speed restriction here. Well, Mike, you'll be able to answer this. When you are assigned a MAC number for Oceanic, is, I guess that's a mandatory Mach number, but you can easily request a speed up or a set speed or even a level change as well. On chat, some of the things I missed. Getting the weather. Very good. Dynasty 001, any plans to take this baby to Canada and do some bush and gravel flying? Potentially, Dynasty 001. In fact, someone sent me a link to a gravel kit add-on for this aircraft. No more oceanic flying in this aircraft, please. David Smith, just come on board. Any problems so far? No. Well, the sim crashed right at the start, so that was a technical issue. I think down to the Sim Toolkit Pro overlay, which I removed and I haven't crashed now. And no, flight's gone reasonably smoothly. We've given some shortcuts. We've been doing the equal time point calculations, which I think are just about worked out correctly. But yeah, so far so good. Been getting a lot of help from guys in chat, and navigation-wise, all is good. Programmed, we're flying to a waypoint not programmed in the flight plan, so I should have perhaps just gone, no, leave me alone on my standard flight plan, but we'll take it. It seems like quite a slow flight considering we haven't even hit the equal time point firstly,
50,
Russell.
40,
yeah, I mean,
30, 20.
we took additional fuel, so the equal time point is way past the halfway point. Coming up to it now, though.
Love the videos and learning more each time.
Thank you very much, Dan Mack, for the £5 donation. It's very kind. Loving the videos and learning more each time. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're finding it educational. I'm certainly up. But thank you for your donation. Very kind. So yes, the fact we took quite a bit of additional fuel kind of staggered the equal time point a little bit. The more fuel you take, perhaps the further along the halfway point the equal time point will be. Now the equal time point is in 10 minutes, remember we calculated that as 1740. So in 10 minutes time we need to decide, shall we continue to Ponta Delgada, and if we don't want to, you can return back to Lisbon with 30 minutes of fuel remaining, on top of final reserve, so an hour's endurance essentially. Well, what is a shame today is the approach we're flying today. Well, I say it's a shame, but one of the arrivals I was planning was a full procedural arrival with a parallel entry into a hold and then outbound on a procedure, but
50,
for realism's
40,
sake, you'd be routed
30,
direct to this waypoint
20,
nice and early
10.
for an ILS. Thanks a lot, Pete S, for the £5.
Another great stream, Captain.
Thank you.
Hats off to Freckles for an amazing paint job.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Pete S, for your donation there. And again, thanks for the continued support. And yes, Freckles are one of our very boisterous members, maybe this very, very nice retro livery. So if you'd like to grab this for your FlyJSim 737-200, don't forget to use the command !livery in chat. And just drag that into your liveries folder and you can enjoy your 60s experience at home.
1021, squawking 0720 with initial climb to flight level 170. We are clear to Ponta Delgada, Santa 43. Santa 43 correct, return to local frequencies, report airborne. Report airborne, Santa 43, muito obrigado, esteja. EC 1808, we are parked up, thanks for your ATC this afternoon and have a good day. Fine, thank you.
Looking good. You have the sound turned down quite a bit. I mean, look how... That's how loud it is, usually. Have to have it turned down here, otherwise you can't hear yourself think. But for the replay, I'll turn that up. Ken Hilaire, hi there. I'm new. Is there a map to track this flight? I am on FlyJSim, so you can have a look on the FlyJSim map to see my position. I'll show you here for convenience. Just departed Lisbon around an hour and a half ago. We're inbound to Ponta Delgada in the Azores. And we're descending in around 15-20 minutes. But, I'll periodically bring that up. I need to find a new overlay because, yeah, as much as I love the Sim Toolkit one, it's the only link, guys. I've had running the Sim for the last month. If I run Sim Toolkit Pro, it crashes. If I don't run it, it doesn't crash. So, there we go.
50, 40, 30.
Oh, the speed's getting
20,
high again. It's so hard
10.
to keep an eye on that. Thanks a lot.
Just finished my first FlyJSim event today. Your videos helps a lot. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, James at Z, for your $5. Congratulations
30,
completing your first
20,
FlyJSim flight. I hope you had a safe flight. Thank you very much for your kind words, and I'm glad the videos were helpful. Thank you. Thanks a lot, K-Tor.
You have an interesting tech log. First barely land AA300 with fly-by-mouse wire, and second software crash in the steam gauges of a 737,200.
Thank you very much, K-Tor, for the $7.32. See what you did there. Yes, two major issues in the last two streams. Complete crash of the A300 software, but still flyable. I had to bring the aircraft down using my mouse, and yes, it would seem we had a software crash on a aircraft which has very little software installed, the 737-200, but all have been rectified. Thank you very much, K-Tor and James, for your generosity there. Thank you. Perfect. Crab Maniac, I have the 732 in my Explain 11 hangar, but I've been too scared to touch it. This has inspired me to fly it tomorrow. Yeah, this aircraft, guys, it's one of my favourite payware aircraft. I mean, I talked about the Eddie Mills A300 recently, but it's great to be back in this aircraft. It's an absolute dinosaur, but if you learn some basic instrument flying skills, you know, managing it's a bit higher workload, but it works as it did in the olden days, and for me it's keeping my R skills reasonably sharp. It's really nice to actually fly this thing, jump into it. It's been a while since we have flown. I think a couple of months, even more so for the 727, which again ups the workload ever so slightly, but yeah, very rewarding. Definitely pull that out of the hangar, give it a flight there. Aircraft Gamer, how do you know what your takeoff minimums are? So minimums refers to your approach, Aircraft Gamer. You don't set them for departure. I think what you might be referring to is what I set using the minimum selector for departure in the Zebo mod, as with the real aircraft. And that's something called the MFRA, the minimum flat retraction altitude. That's just at the height at which we accelerate in the event of an engine failure. But there's no set height. You could be referring perhaps to the sit-stop altitude as well. That would be found in the charts. Oh, look at my speed now. Oh my, I keep going from one speed to the other. Right, let's talk about the approach here, because we're going to be approaching our top of descent shortly. So not really flying any arrival now. We're routing direct to this waypoint. I don't think there's any stars here from the north or the northeast to take us direct to Juva. I'm going to look at here my operators. Stars. There is one, but we're kind of routing direct.
50,
Yeah,
40,
I'm going to use
30,
this star.
20, 10.
Even though we're not flying, we're routing direct to this point, but this will be the best at displaying where we are.
Nice to be able to watch a live stream. Still excellent content.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Breakdust, for the £5. Very kind. And so glad you could make it live. Excellent content. Thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Very kind. Jake Morley, how would you calculate takeoff and landing performance with these older aircraft? The same way you would used to do it in the 737NG before iPads became common, and that's using tables and graphs. And my operator, when I joined in 2011, we had no performance calculator. We were still using charts and tables. Same way in this. Right, so we're not really flying an arrival, guys. We're just simply routing direct to Zuvap. We need to be at or above 4,500 at that point, and then we'll be flying, I guess, with this direction here, one of the ILS approaches. So we've got Cat C, Cat D. We've got the initial approach fix at Zuvap, and I believe that's at 19 miles. Look, initial approach fix is 19 miles. So what we need to do is work out how high we want to be and at what point for our descent planning. So Zuvap is at or above 4,500. And at 20 miles away. So ideally at Zuvap I want to be doing around 200 knots at 6,000 feet. Let's call it 5,000 feet to be on the conservative side with regards to descent planning. So we're at 32,000 feet. We want to be at 5,000 feet at this waypoint Zuvap. So we need to lose 27,000 feet and at 200 knots. Just do 27 times 3, so 81 miles away. So when this is 81 miles, we need to start our descent. But I also want to slow down to 210 knots from about 260. So we'll add 5 miles onto 81. So it's going to be 86. Sorry, 87 miles. So 87 miles from Zuvap, we're going to commence our descent and then monitor it on the way down. That should roughly work. 87. Actually, you know what? Go even more conservative. Let's call it 90 because I like round numbers. Always, ideally, be below profile than above it, especially in an aircraft like this if you're unfamiliar with your vertical position. But we can keep monitoring that on the way down. So 90 miles prior to top of descent. 90 miles prior to Zuvap. We're going to commence our descent to be at 5,000 feet here. Remember, I've not done the total distance, but just to a set point. So 90 miles. That's going to be 60 miles from now. We're not flying an arrival. MSA to the east is the highest, 5,500 feet. ILS frequencies are 109.5. Nav. Oh, my radio tuning panel. Oh, I can. There we are. Right, it's just rotating between 4.5 and 5.0. Interesting. It could be not compatible then. Well, 109.5 is the frequency I want, and I want to put that on the left-hand side. That's so annoying. I can only tune this side because the radio tuning panel is fixed in a certain way, which is like a new aircraft. You switch between the two digits. Obviously in the 200 they're fixed, so I'll just do it manually. Much easier. So 109.5 is active. Put this back to Capcom. I like this tune. Course is 300. Can't change that at the moment because it's linked to the INS, but we can set gyms. 4 miles height check at 1460. That's there. Minimums, category C aircraft is 430 feet. So we have to set this here. There's an MDA light linked to the radio altimeter. So what I'll do, I'll set the radio altimeter to 243 feet. But you've got to be very careful with that because that's based off the runway being on a flat point here, and I'm very sure the runway here is on a cliff. So you know it's the only way to get the MDA light to light up in here. So you shouldn't be setting this as unless you're doing a Cat 2 or Cat 3 approach. But we'll do that just so we get the MDA light at minimums. Just fine tune my thrust here. Just a tiny bit less. So that's set. Coming in then via Zuvap, straight onto the ILS. My sort of approach. Platform's at 3,600, so once we pass Zuvap, we can safely descend from the MSA, because there's no actual descent point here, so really 5,500 at Zuvap, and then we can step down to the platform 3,600. When there's no arrival, it's very important you respect MSAs, if you're self-positioning or self-manoeuvring, if there's no radar. We'll intercept the ILS then at 3,600 feet at 10.7 DME, and we'll go 3 degree ILS to the minimum. So if you have to go around, go around Toga flat 15, set ground for us, positive radar climb, gear up 400 feet, engage heading select.
Red, copy, go ahead. 1 kilometer further information from
left on 287, climb to 2,000 feet, and then a left turn to P-Tud to hold. We can do that conventionally, look, it's based off radial 194 from Victor Mike Golf. 112, check on standby, which it already is. And then we'll climb there, radial 194, 21 DME to Petard. Perfect. So land distance available, runway 30, 2,300 metres. Ideally we'll vacate at Echo to help ATCL. That's going to be a distance of around 1,700 metres, so quite short. I don't want to mess around today, I'm going to go order break. Yeah. I don't have any performance data here. Let's go order break medium. Use the buckets, of course, because we're in the 200. Vacate Echo, taxi on stand. I'm so busy chatting away. 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, we passed the equal time point. Okay, now I could still get back there and land there with final reserves intact. What I should have done at 40 is at the equal time point, just double check the weather and the airfield information. Now we're on FlyJSim. I'm happy that Lama International Airlines are not blocking the runway. Latest METAR in Ponta Delgada showing a few rain showers, 10,000 metres visibility, a scatter cloud at 200, 16 degrees, 1024. So yes, it is a low cloud base with a scatter cloud base, but the broken cloud base is 700. We should be ground here. Alternate wise, Santa Maria just to the south is completely clear, 10k, few clouds at 900, 17 degrees. So if we can't get to Ponta Delgada after 2 approaches, we'll go to Santa Maria. If Santa Maria all of a sudden isn't available, we have the military civil airfield to the north, Lajes and Corres, which is also clear as well. So the 2 alternates are A-OK. Our destination is the one which isn't ideal there. So there we go. That's the approach briefing done. We're just going to wait till 90 miles till we commence our descent. So there is radar available in Ponta Delgada. Santa Maria at some point would hand you off, I guess, leaving oceanic airspace. I don't know if Mike's still here to chat with the domestic sector. I think this ATC control is controlling it all anyway, so something to always bear in mind. Very cool. I haven't had a break all stream, sat here for nearly 3 hours. But it's been very enjoyable. Perfect. 32150 Santa Maria radar, thank you very much.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, Santa Maria.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, go ahead.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, Santa Maria, boa tarde. Information Echo, runway 30, when ready, descent flight level 260.
When ready, descent flight level 260, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Perfect. So, we've been cleared when ready to go down to 260, that's set. We're just going to wait until, remember that distance we calculated, 90 miles. Remember, 90 miles isn't to our touchdown point, it's 90 miles to this point, Zuvap. Zuvap is a distance of 19 miles, so 20 on top of the 90 we calculated takes us to 110. 110 times 3 is 33,000 feet, so you can see where I got that calculation from. But 90 DME from Zuvap is the point at which we'll initiate our descent, and that's just using 3 times your height, and then for every 10 knots you need to reduce your airspeed, add an additional nautical mile to your distance required. Mike, Oceanic Radio will normally give you the frequencies to change you at the exit point. Thanks, Mike. Guys, Pilot Mike, as I've mentioned, is a good friend of mine. We even went to school together. I've known him the best part of, how many years might it be? 17, 18 years perhaps. we both went our separate ways, both went to Oxford Aviation Academy at different times. I went one way, he went the other. He now is a first officer on the 787. I'm obviously a skipper on the 7-3, but I know Pilot Mike has an Instagram account and he has a blog as well. Go check that out. He's been helping me run my members only Discord since its fruition. He provides so much insight and pops into these streams as well, so be sure to check him out. Thanks again, Mike, for popping in. He did say he would stay because it was primarily about oceanic procedures, which I hope from my perspective you've learned something about them. As I've said, not very knowledgeable, don't apply them at all, never have done in my 12 years. But it's been very good for me to actually review the procedures. I've learned something about them, reviewing all the oceanic guidance which we have access to familiarise myself with some of the procedures. Again, I'm still very rusty, but it's been very enjoyable to look it all up. Wilhelm, would you fly the 200 in real life if you'd have the opportunity? I really love your old school streams. I'm here today again as always. You're always around here, Wilhelm, so thank you so much for coming in to watch the videos. I'd love to have a go flying this thing, really. I've flew with many skippers who did fly this aircraft when I was an FO, and they told me how much of a brute it was. It was literally, you could stick this thing in the barber's pole, very responsive. The engines are very sluggish compared to, say, a CFM, so you have to be a bit careful with the small up times, but yeah, it's very nice. Right, there's 90 miles coming up, guys, so I think we should start our descent. We'll flick this to indicated airspeed and slowly reduce the thruster idle. And we're going to descend at around 280 knots. For those of you unsure about our position, be interesting to check our original ETA. Our original ETA was 1831 based off the full arrival. We're going to probably be a few minutes before that now. But we are routing direct to this waypoint here. Not flying any arrival, direct to Juvap. We're on a radar control, and then from Juvap straight onto the ILS. The weather, scattered cloud at 200, could potentially be an issue, but the RVR is important, is fine. We've got enough fuel for 30 minutes. It's 2 approaches before we can divert to either one of our 2 alternates where we check the weather and it's completely fine. Down we go, and we'll just do around 280. Just bug that straight away, and then the Mach number will decrease.
Cargo 005, QNH 1025, we are ready to start.
Outside view, of course we'll.
Start up is approved, we call you as ready for taxi, thank you, Poland Cargo 005. Packet 9 Alpha Zulu, Ponta Delgada approach 119.4, bye bye.
119.4, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, thanks to the ATC, sir, bye. It's 119.4.
In center, number.
Yeah, 119.4 is active. And it is pronounced Ponta Delgada. Ponta Delgada approach, Boatard Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu. We're descending to flight level 260 inbound to Juvap.
Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, Ponta Delgada approach identified, information echo, quotation to 5,500 feet, QNH 1024, no speed restriction.
Set altitude 5,500 feet, QNH 1024, free speed, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. There we are, so 5,500 is set. We'll set QNH 1024. Remember, in Europe, guys, all my American friends, well, certainly in my operator anyway, as soon as you've been cleared to an altitude, you immediately set the QNH, even if you are above the transition altitude. So 1024, set once, twice, and 3 times.
Sergeant 6, Roger, expect takeoff at 1800. Do you want to hold that to stand? Pushback about 55 is about.
Perfect. So the nav2 is tuned to the ILS, so we should pick up the DME when we get a little bit closer. I think it takes explain around 25 miles or so to pick it up. Ben Spow's free speed, you could barber pole it. Could do. That'll get very low. I'll try and keep it as controlled as possible. There's the weather reloading. David is 2,500 feet. A typical descent rate, it seems to dive into it. Yeah, so if you're accelerating in the descent, descent rates in excess of 4,500, 5,000 feet per minute are very normal. Routinely doing that in the 737, especially if you're accelerating. It really depends on your airspeed. If you're descending as we are now around 280 knots, 2,500, 3,000 feet per minute. If you're descending at 320 knots on the barber's pole, you're going to be maintaining around 3,500 feet per minute because of the increased parasitic drag, because the aircraft is trying to maintain that bug speed. But yeah, quite normal. Anthony, we would set QNH passing 180 to preclude improper level off if we had above 180 for any reason. Yeah, I've had this discussion so many times, especially with American guys. In Europe, certainly my operator, the idea is we want to set the QNH as soon as possible. The reason is if you forget, especially as a non-precision approach, could be potentially disastrous. If ATC came back to us now, as it is in Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu, stop descent flight level 200, no problem. We just set standard, done, straight away. So we are along the lines of setting QNH as soon as we clear to an altitude. And I know in America, every time I stream out there, everyone's stressing, no, wait until the transition altitude to 18,000. And I see why, I see both sides of the argument. So I do what I do at my operator. Okay, what is the weirdest reason for a go around? Use your imagination. So we can do a kind of gross aero check on this descent rate. 60 miles, so 80 miles away, should be around 24,000 feet with 21, so probably around 2,500 feet below profile, but I'd far rather be below it than above it. I'm always very conservative.
Alright, and we'll grab information from trying to send a 5,000.
I'd say half your crew. We fly QFE, which we set below 10,000. Oh, we don't fly QFE at all. No, I've never set QFE since I did my PPL. Tobias, having dinner, have a nice landing. Tobias, I'll do my best for you. Ateja means so long.
Ponta Delgada approach identified, continuation 5,500 feet, QNH 1024, information Foxtrot Garrett. 5,500, repeat, QNH 1863, QNH 1024. QNH 1024,
Astro, since your operator set standard QNH as soon as you're cleared to a flight level, what do you do if IFR clearance is to a flight level? Do you use the SID transition altitude? Same applies Astro, but at 3,000 feet, if we're cleared to a flight level on departure, we wait until 3,000 feet AGL and then we set standard, not taking into account the transition altitude. Again, the same applies if we're told to immediately stop climbing to an altitude, we'd set the QNH. But the whole idea of this is preventing level busts. I mean, yes, ATC do come back with you stop climb, stop descent, and it's usually with your preset. But again, with what's a higher risk? It's a level bust is what we're trying to reduce on a departure. On approach, it's a terrain CFIT. FlyJSim, when's the next stream? Maybe tomorrow. I've done a lot of streams this week. Also on the second channel as well, FlyJSim Gaming as well. Anthony, do a great job with these videos. As a real pilot, you have a lot to offer. It's just like a ride in a jump seat. Thanks, Anthony. I do my best. Even though flying this aircraft is exhausting while streaming, but very, very enjoyable. Seatbelts on, around 15 minutes to landing. Louis Barton, tutorial idea, crosswind landing would be good. There's not many about, I know. Oh, I keep trying to sit down to do tutorials, but ever since I started streaming, I prefer the interaction we have much more. And yeah, the Zebo mod, there's so much more I can cover, I know. I'm really thinking about it, guys, I am. Gwen, if you have a license on the 800, do you have to do another course of this aircraft? Yes, I should think so. My type rating only covers me from the 300 to the NG. Oh, and max now. What would be involved? I don't think a full type rating, but some conversion course of some sorts.
Delta taxi to the
Gwenjo, sorry for all the questions. I'll talk what the stream's all about, buddy. Right, what's the weather doing here? It's still a bit iffy. Still scattered at 209,000 metres now. Okay, well, the RVR required is 1,000 for Category C with full approach lights. Fine, tutorial. Ben, hope you're doing well. Really looking forward to this approach. You saw it yesterday, Ben. Thank you, hope you're doing well. Do you think you'll get to fly the MAX anytime soon? Yeah, when we eventually get them. I've introduced 787 to the Alpaca fleet today. Just landed as Alpaca 36 Mike. Very cool, Oscar. Very cool. So, there we are. Still routing in towards Zuvap. This is one of those maps which don't display the aircraft, but I can assure you this is where we're going. I hope. So long as I've got the INS program correctly. I'm pretty confident with ATC's not yelling at me saying, where are you going yet? And if all goes to hell here, we've got radar control here, so you can always request a vector. Abby, question, what happens if an APU fails after landing? I've had this happen, well not fail, but yeah, wouldn't start. You just have to communicate, you pull on stand and then start waving your hands around, showing them the connect GPU sign. Shut down engine number 2 so they can approach the aircraft and then connect the aircraft, but we often dispatch with no APU serviceable. Right, approaching 10,000 feet. Oh, no, what am I doing? That's the QNH. Trying to plug the speed. Let's bring the speed back to 250 knots now. I don't know if you can see. Is that a little bit of Ponta Delgada? No. It's just the sun setting. Beautiful. Jake Morley, what happens if there's no available APU for start-up? You need to do. You need to get an air starter unit to start engine on stand, and then you push back and then do a cross-speed start. I have a tutorial on that. Type in PMDG NGX engine start tutorial, and I cover all the different engine starts.
Roger, which stand are you parking today?
There we are, so look at that, 047 DME now for the runway, based off the ILS frequency, so we can listen to nav 2.
Right, I will pop up a Charlie after
109.5 is November Lima ident.
Copy after the start, we'll continue time. Thank you. One pop up a Charlie. Azores 126, wind 100 degrees 9 knots, runway 12, clear for takeoff.
And there's 100 or 10,000 for 5,500 feet. We'll do the. That's November Lima. Turn that off. So we'll do the post cruise checks now. Lights, we'll just turn them all on. APU is off. Pressurization 3.2. Set, seatbelts on, recool, checks complete. Fuel, we have just over 10,000 pounds, so plenty of fuel. So kilos, around 4.5 tons. Wicked. So we've got 40 miles, ideally at 12,000 feet, we're at 9, so we are very low on the profile, but we'll accept that there. Course, we have set to our final approach course on Jim's side, 300, but we're still a little bit outside of range. We've got the DME, but the localised deviation, ILS deviation is a little bit far off. I just want to confirm with him the routing after Zuvap. Total air temperature's 10, so we don't need engine anti-ice. Temperature down there is like 16 or so degrees. And yeah, I mean it is scattered at 200, so if we happen to be in a cloud at minimums, we need to go around. Left turn 2000, left turn to Petwood. We will have to get the radials all set up for the missed approach there. Yay. So 2,000 feet to go to our cleared altitude. And when we get to around 5 miles before GWAP, I'll just confirm the routing. Hopefully it'll give us a vector for the localizer. So I'm just going to add a little bit of thrust, because we're going to get a little bit low here. Just around 1,000 feet per minute, there we are. I'm at 500, but I was very conservative with the descent planning today, very conservative. You could be, I gave myself kind of an extra 5 or 6 track miles, so we've still got 30 miles to run. So ideally we'd be around 10,000 feet now, we're at 6,400. Keep it going at 250 knots.
Alpaca 89er, Alpha Zulu, proceed direct to initial approach fix and clear ILS Zulu approach, runway 30.
I'll continue direct to the initial approach fix and cleared ILS Zulu, runway 30, Alpaca 89er, Alpha Zulu. Now what on earth are the coordinates of the initial approach fix? Well, it is this point here, 19 DME, so we could carry on till GWAP, and then you get there. I mean, I hope the localizer's alive by that point. It should be at 20 miles, but sometimes the sim can be a little bit late giving us the point there. So what we'll do, carry on until we're
40,
right outside
30,
2 miles, and
20,
I'm just going to set the runway heading. I'll preset it now, in fact. Or maybe a little intercept like a 290.
My apologies for not watching much of the stream, but I'm
that's
so
okay.
sad that I am driving on ETS2. Even though I drive a truck every day of my life, tears of joy, tears of joy.
Unbelievable, Tim. Thanks for the £10 donation again. Very generous as a member. Just no need, but thank you. Appreciate it nonetheless. And our residential truck driver on Discord is driving in Euro Truck Simulator. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Tim. I heard you had some issues reversing as well. Right, well, look, 3 miles to go. And we still have not picked up the localizer. Definitely got the frequency, look, 1095 both sides. So what I'm going to have to do is revert to heading select, so pretty much overhead here.
Should we expect ILS
Nav,
for
300.
If I expect ILS Zulu approach, runway 30.
Localizer's alive at least. So I'm going to bring the speed back to 200 knots. Oh no, I forgot to set the landing bugs. Flat 30, set bugs, there we are. So yeah, now this is just dead reckoning now, because I've got no localizer information. There's not even... that's cheating, but you can see there's no NDB or anything. There's a VOR to the north, but I don't really want to tune that because I'll be routing off the approach. So yeah, I mean, I'm 23 miles away. In reality, you'd pick up the localizer by now. You'd have the localizer and you'd be intercepting it, or using it to intercept. Right, temperature's fine, 12 degrees. There it goes. Perfect, so it's telling me to fly left. So it came in at 22 miles, the localizer. Again, it's way too late. So we'll use that heading. We'll level off at 5,500, which is the platform altitude. And I'll bring the speed back to 200 knots.
Santa 43, go ahead.
So, the fact that, so one thing you can remember...
43, flight level 170 out of Sao Jorge.
So if you're self-positioning, sort of like I am here, very important to make sure you're above this MSA, 5,500. So because you're above this, or at 5,500, you can We were cleared direct to the initial approach fix, but it is acceptable to self-position. And you can see, look, the localizer is slowly coming in now, as is the glide slope. So not bad, nearly a
Santa
CDA.
448 again.
Right, alarm,
Ready for departure. Santa
auto
448.
approach.
Santa 448, wind 100 degrees 9 knots, runway 30, clear for takeoff.
Runway 30, clear for takeoff.
50,
Localizer's captured, so we're heading
20,
300.
10.
Split the island. Runway 2.
Select flaps 1.
If
Bit
you
early.
can reverse the track on ETS2, you can have my job. It's so easy in real life and so difficult on the computer, rolling on the floor laughing.
Cheers, Tim. Very, very kind again. Thank you for your donation. Again, not required, but I love hearing your stories at ETS2 nonetheless. But keep it to Discord if you so wish. Very, very kind. Thank you. Right, we're now fully localizer and glide slope captured. Altitude alert. Well, that's because we'll be on clear altitude. We'll set 4,500 feet as the mist. I'm already at flap 1 just to keep the speed under control. You can see, look, it's with idle thrust now. Slowly decelerating. Oh, it's actually speeding up, so let's go flap 5 and we'll bugger 180. We're at 15 miles, so now back 89 Alpha Zulu, fully established. ILS Zulu, runway 30.
Alpha 89 Alpha Zulu, quad by side 700 feet, wind 100 degrees 9 knots, runway 30, clear to land.
Runway 30, cleared to land, Alpaca 89 Alpha Zulu. Right, fully established, flap 5, speed slowly coming back. It's just as slippy, this aircraft, as the other one here. Remember, the visibility isn't that great here.
Open mic.
Someone's got a stuck mic. Altitude alert we know about. There we are. Just check the weather again. Okay, scattered at 300. We should be, active sky permitting, be okay. 11 miles, I'm going to go flap 10 now, because it's struggling to slow down a little bit here. It's around 160. Turn the relaxing music off here. Perfect. So 10 miles, 200 knots, 3,000 feet. Looking good. Approach checklist we would have done. Check the frequencies there. And right now, what's the wind doing? 215 at 24, so we've got a 15 knot crosswind, but that should decrease as we get closer to the runway. We'll configure at 5 miles because we're, well, maybe a bit sooner because we're in this aircraft, but we're in IMC here. I've not seen any of the beautiful islands here. I downloaded a lovely ortho tile for this sector. Get your landing rate guesses in as well. We should be touching down very shortly.
Azores 126,
If you ever go around, left turn, 287, 2000, further left turn at Peta Towers. Last time I checked was a 30 knot crosswind on the ground. Lovely. On the speed brake. Is a little bit of the island coming into view? There we go. Perfect. Looking okay. Right, let's start configuring. Bit early, gear down. Flap 15, landing checklist to flaps. Start switch is continuous. Recalls check, speed brakes, armed, green light, landing gear down. 3 green, auto brake is set to medium, holding on flaps. Final approach speed is going to be 134 knots, so select flap 30 now. No auto throttle, remember, so I have to control that manually. Get these sounds up a little bit for you. There we go, that's better. So flaps we've got 30 green light, landing lights are on, checklist is complete, we are cleared to land, crew are sat down. Approach lights in sight. Thankfully those scattered clouds are nowhere to be seen near us. Speed. Right, I'll figure F there.
We check 200 degrees, 10 knots.
Perfect. So again, that speed's a little bit low. A little bit left of centre line, it would seem. Even the localizer deviation is showing you to fly right. I'm disconnecting now. So my controls. I've got that crosswind from the left as well. High slope's okay, a little bit left of centre line, speed's okay. descending now. So I keep scanning, looking at the speed, looking at thrust, looking at rate of descent. Pappy showing 3 white, so a little bit high. Around 1,000 feet per minute to get back on the profile. There she is. So ignore the flight director. I hate these big flight directors. There we go. So now I'm slightly right of centre lines. Keep making those corrections. Speed's okay. Tad fast. Keep flying. Back on the centre line. Speed's out a little bit fast, a bit high, not ideal. Keep ascending. Oh. No more than 1,000 feet. There we are. Oh, there's the middle marker. Speed's good. Keep it descending now. And a trim. Tad high again, so just keep descending. There we are.
100.
Keep coming down.
50.
And approach.
Check.
Close.
Oh, a little bit aggressive with the check there. Oh, a bit, very firm, but it's just great landing. I don't care. My speed breaks up. Bit off what we'd like usually, but never mind. Oh, centre line, reverses. Manual braking. See if we can make the first exit. 100 knots, 80 knots, 60 knots. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome for the first ever time, Ponta Delgada. We made it. My oh my. Bit firm. It says great landing. Echo apron with the follow me at Alpaca 89 at Alpha Zulu. Thanks a lot for the ATC today. Perfect. Very, very nice. Our first ever oceanic sector in an aircraft with no FMS. FlyJSim the entire way. We got in here nice and safely. We'll have a simulated follow me car, I guess. Lovely, enjoyable sector. Good landing without crosswind. Absolutely, Andy. Keep those positive comments coming. Right. Speed breaks up. Short taxi today, so we'll get the APU up and running. As well. Perfect. Let's go between Air Berlin, RIP, to tap here. In fact, I don't think there's any stands. Might have to go between United, who's very far away from home, and Ryanair. Let's go between these two. Is there a stand available? Well, no, I'll take that original one as planned. Oh, a bit past the centre line. Right. Cool. There's scenery, guys. No Payway airports available. There's a nice little one on the forum. Stuart H, I think it's called, or by someone called Stuart H. Completely free to download. Requires some of the libraries, but looks nice. There's a Texaco fuel truck, and there we are. Lovely, jumbly. Right, parking brake is set. AP's just still firing up, almost there. We'll turn the strobe lights off. Weather radar, yeah, that needs to come off as well. And it's available. There we are, 2 blues, 1 red. Engines are dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Azores Alpaca Airways retro livery. Outstanding. I think I parked a bit short. I'm not near any of the parking markings, but never mind. Now that was a tiring flight. I'm very, very tired after that. Chris Curtin, I land better after a few beers. Unbelievable. Todd, I love how the overhead panel on these planes looks like a patchwork, as if each unit was installed as an afterthought. Check out the MD-80 overhead panel, because a lot of the things there were genuine afterthoughts. They were like, oh, we need to add that. That's a real mismatch of aircraft parts. 10 out of 10 would do that maths lesson again. Amazing. Aggressive livery, nice. Yeah, thank you very much, Freckles, for making this livery. That was very kind of you. If you would like to grab that again, if you ever want to watch the video back, the links from Nightbot are always in the video description, or in the chat. Sorry. Spout and Ritz, you spilled your tomato juice. Oh dear. Rory Heap, wasn't your first oceanic sector when you flew into JFK? Yes, that was correct. I mean, this was a little bit more challenging because they weren't simulating the CPDLC kind of text log while having to do it all via voice. And secondly, the 200 here, Rory, we've got no flight management computer, we've got no accurate autopilot or way to fly particular approaches. This is all very old school. The gauges are needles. The inertial navigation system is a very basic computer which can calculate points. So the workload it quadruples when flying this aircraft compared to the NG, but very rewarding nonetheless. Guys, you can go check out the FlyJSim 737-200. It's a very, very nice aircraft. Very, very much enjoy flying it, streaming in it as well. It's great to get it out of the hangar again. Cool. Let's have a look at some of the old comments then on the approach. I can't believe it's not better yet. Again, I hope you found it educational regarding oceanic procedures as well, as I've said before. Never flown them in real life. I've got guidance on it from my operator. It was really good for me to actually review all that this morning prior to the stream to make sure I was familiar with everything. But again, I must remind you, with all my streams and tutorials, purely for entertainment. So if you're in your ATPL training, or if you're a line pilot, don't use any of the guidance here. That's just my little disclaimer here. Only use your approved guidance here. I saw alpaca recently. Fantastic barrows yesterday. Amazing. Perfect. So we'll call that a day and log off of X-Pilot. The controllers again was superb by all the controllers here. Nice to have 80 for the entire sector. And as Domino Mosine has put it, cue the funky replay music. There we go. Well, thank goodness we had all the X-Plane 11 gremlins at the start of the stream. Yes, it would seem that Sim Toolkit Pro is the only thing that's linked to it, because every time I use it, it crashes. Every time I don't, it doesn't. So I'm going to have to get away with not using the overlay. Let's have a look at this then. Look at the reflections. Amazing. So check. A bit aggressive because I thought it'd be hard, and then I was like, oh, it's a bit high. No, just let it settle on the main gear then. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Look at the weather. Very close to, I think, what the METAR says. Sounds. A little bit of a crosswind there. There's the check. A little bit too high, and I just held the attitude. Did you hear the little skid? 214 from this side. Go for it. I think the reflections in the replay don't actually show the reflection of the aircraft, so it looks like it's still the taxiway there. We've got the yellow taxiway line, unfortunately. A tower view. Let's have a look from there. Check. Held the attitude. Perfect. That is one highly buffed airframe, that's for sure. Very good. Well, it has to be bucket view for the replay, doesn't it? Of course. Well then, guys, thank you very much for taking part and watching another FlyJSim live stream. I hope you found that very enjoyable. To everyone that donated, thank you very much for your contributions. Very much kind, very much appreciated. Very kind, very much appreciated. To all the members as well, as ever, thank you for the continued support and provide to the channel. To all the regular subscribers and viewers, thank you so much for turning up as well. I hope you enjoyed this stream flying old school aircraft in oceanic procedures, talking about some ATPL point of no return calculations, which by terrible explanation, hopefully you'll be able to get something out of that. But guys, as ever, stay safe. Next stream potentially tomorrow, but as usual, stay up to date with social media feeds to see when I'm next streaming. Stay safe out there, of course, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.